children.
Michigan, a beautiful area to the west of Detroit, dotted with hundreds of sparkling lakes, fields of growing corn, and one massive racetrack. On a beautiful afternoon, fans are filing into the grandstands to see NASCAR Nationwide Series drivers race at speeds and under conditions they've never before encountered at this track. Speed, strategy, and the element of the unknown, all combining to make for an unpredictable afternoon of racing. There's Joey Logano, one of the stars of the season in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Certainly figures to be a star of this race. Jack Roush on the right. Great pride in his team's success at this racetrack. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. on the left will have to carry the torch for Ford today. There's Elliott Sadler, the Nationwide Series championship leader, hoping to still hold that lead at the end of 250 miles. And Michigan's Brad Keselowski, winner of this race for 2 of the last 3 years. Certainly no one should count him out for another home state celebration. And as driver introductions go on down in the Tri-Oval area, we welcome you to our broadcast booth at the Michigan International Speedway. Alan Bestwick with 5-time Michigan winning driver Rusty Wallace and Michigan winning crew chief Andy Petrie. It was Brad Keselowski that said earlier this week that he thought today's race would be one of the best races of the season in any series. I certainly hope that that comes through. The reason is because this track was repaved over the winter. A $7 million job producing tons of grip in this pavement. It's made this track lightning fast. How fast? Well, check out a comparison of the speeds from last year's Nationwide Series action here to this year's. Straightaway speeds, corner speeds, much faster in 2012 than they were in 2010, all due to the extra grip provided by this new pavement. So, Rusty and Andy, to the drivers and crew chiefs, that extra speed today means what?
For me, it means throw the record books away. Any type of record you have at this racetrack, get rid of it. You got to change everything. I'm even talking about the way you drive the track. Look, before this race, I went down to infield, talked to some of the drivers. I talked to many drivers that told me, said, Rusty, this is the fastest I've ever went in my entire life. I was talking to Cup driver Mark Martin. He said, I've never went this fast in my entire life. So they're a little bit nervous. They know they're going fast. But look, you got to drive the track different. The tires are different. The race setups are different. Fuel burn is different. Everything is different, and there's not many people that really know, Andy, what's going to happen today in this race.
Yeah, they've had a lot of practice. They've had 3 practice sessions, as a matter of fact, but they've used a lot of data. They've gathered a lot of data from those practice sessions, so they're not totally in the dark, but they don't have that historical data to go from. This is a totally different deal that they've ever faced, so it's going to be different. It's going to be a lot of unknowns for the crew chiefs down there.
Well, if the speed has been story number 1 of this race weekend so far, story number 1 of the NASCAR Nationwide Series season so far has been that young man, Joey Logano. The 22-year-old Connecticut native scored his 4th win of the season. Last race in Dover, Delaware. This 2 weeks ago, he squeezed past his Joe Gibbs Racing teammate, Brian Truex, in the late laps to score that victory. Then he followed that up last Sunday in that orange number 20 for Gibbs by passing Mark Martin in a late laps duel to score the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series win, that at Pocono Raceway in Pennsylvania. Been a big couple of weeks for Joey Logano. Been a big season for Logano in the Nationwide Series. Joey is in a contract year, and he's hoping to secure his place with both team and sponsors for the future. He says those 4 wins in the Nationwide Series have been huge for his confidence leading to the Pocono Cup victory. Joey starts 3rd today. He's with Dr. Jerry Punch.
Thank you, Alan. You know, Joey, unlike years past, the Logano we're seeing now is not afraid to get physical, use the bumper a little bit. The numbers speak for themselves. You just watch the highlight, big smile, 4 nationwide wins, the Cup win. How much has the no more Mr. Nice Guy approach helped your confidence and the overall success this year?
I think we've had a lot of confidence because of how great our cars have been. You know, when Joe Gibbs Racing is able to prepare me great Dollar General Toyotas like I got today, you know, it allows you to be aggressive and make those moves to win and do what you got to do to win these things. And I got another wicked good car today that I think can win this thing. And but I think it's going to be a great race. I think it's going to be cars in a pack. I think most of the days the draft is amazing down these straightaways with these nationwide cars. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited about it. And wouldn't mind putting in victory lane again.
Good luck today.
Thank you.
Alan, a few years ago when he was being passed and punted in the final laps, he was known as the hard luck driver. Now the tables have turned. He's being known only as the driver who is hard to beat.
And Doc, classic New England description of his car there. Wicked good for Joey Logano today. The wins are coming this year for Logano. What's different?
Well, Alan, I really think he's racing with a sense of urgency. I've watched him. You mentioned he isn't a contract year. He does have a little pressure on him. A lot of people have been talking about he's not getting the job done in the Cup Series. Now, he went up and won last weekend. He's been winning the Nationwide Series. You can tell he's driving hard. He's had a couple controversial things happen on the racetrack. One time at Darlington, he got in the back of Elliott Sadler on a restart. Racing hard, got Elliott in the wall. Pretty aggressive move right there. And then just a couple weeks later, he went over to Dover, Delaware, was passing a lap car, got a little aggressive with him, got him in the quarter panel, and stuck the guy head on in the wall. A move I really didn't like. But you know what? He's driving with urgency. I kind of understand.
Well, you said a little pressure. He's under a lot of pressure to keep this ride. He's got one of the premier rides in the series. And what he did last week at Pocono, I think, is what owners want to see. They want to see somebody that wants it bad enough to move Mark Martin out of the way if he has to win a race. I don't see anything wrong with that, and I think it's going to play well for him to maybe stay in that ride.
So Joey Logano getting ready to go having a chat with Danica Patrick there. Logano starts in third position. One of the guys Joey's going to have to outrun to take home the trophy today is Kurt Busch. After an inappropriate interaction with a reporter following the Dover race 2 weeks ago, Busch was suspended by NASCAR for a week and missed the Pocono Cup race last Sunday. His Sprint Cup team owner James Finch elected to stay with Busch and said, quote, "We know adjustments have to be made, but how we fix that's between Kurt and myself. We're going to go to the track, work hard, race hard, and work on trying to attract a sponsor, and we're going to do that together," end quote. Today, Kurt drives the 54 car owned by brother Kyle, and he starts 15th. The ever-changing NASCAR Nationwide Series Championship picture with now 3 drivers in the conversation when NASCAR Countdown continues from Michigan.
Thanks, Danica.
Championship leader Ricky Stenhouse Jr. with mechanical troubles.
Felt something hit my feet at the floor, like underneath the floorboard.
Oh, yeah, it's shaking like crazy. You see that right there?
Says he can't drive it.
No, you can't handle that.
I think she just blew up.
This is a bad situation.
Today's all about keeping that thing out of trouble now. This rough place.
Trouble back straightaway. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. around and pounds the inside wall.
Goes out. You all right? Nope.
2 weeks in a row for Ricky Stenhouse, having just not the kind of luck that he needs to defend this Nationwide Series championship.
That's been a rough couple of races for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the defending NASCAR Nationwide Series champ. The latest in what has been up and down championship fight between he on the right and Elliott Sadler there on the left all season long. Stenhouse started with trouble at Daytona while Sadler opened the season hot. Then Stenhouse got hot while Sadler struggled. And now the last couple of weeks have flipped Sadler back to the top of the championship standings entering today's race. We hear from the top 2 in the title chase, beginning with Mike Massaro.
Yeah, quite the swing of points for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., going from up 34 points, now trailing by 12. Considering what's happened the last couple of races for you, what's the mindset going into today?
Same mindset as always, man. We're coming out here to win. That's the way this team shows up every week. To go out and get the most points as possible, that's lead the most laps to win the race. So, we got a ways to go. We're going to have fun passing some cars, getting up through there. But, I'm proud of this team right here. They never give up. They got the car back out at Dover. We made some laps. Didn't get a DNF. So we're ready to go here at Michigan. It's going to, hopefully it keeps getting hotter and hotter. I think that's going to play into our favor.
Good luck today.
Thank you.
He does have a ways to go. Qualified 20th, his worst qualifying effort of the season so far, Shannon Spake.
And here with your points leader, Elliott Sadler, that's got to sound pretty good, even though it's still early in the season. Coming into this race, you said that this was going to be the biggest unknown that you've been a part of. After practice, qualifying, what areas are still unknown?
Well, the biggest thing is how long these tires are going to last, how much drafting are we going to do, how much fall off is it going to be in the middle of the corner. We still do not know yet. This mandatory caution we're having at lap 25 is actually going to tell us a lot about how patient we're going to have to be as a race car driver. This track has changed a lot. It changed a lot Friday. Friday morning, it was all about drafting like Daytona, Talladega. As it got hot and slick like Michigan does, the track changed on us a little bit. We had to put some grip back in the car. So a few things we did learn, but there's still a few unknowns ahead of us.
And Elliott Sadler, your points leader, rolls off 6th today. Alan?
Okay, Shannon, thanks. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. riding high a couple of weeks ago, Andy, has to regroup a little bit now.
Well, he came into this series on a tear. He came in fast, but he wrecked a lot of race cars. And then he learned how to fix that. He had to learn how to fix it, and he did. He won races and won the championship last year. This year I've seen a ton of confidence out of that guy. He's been winning races. He's come in and taken the point lead. And then he got very, very confident, almost overconfident. And confidence can serve you well on the racetrack, But if you get overconfident, it can really work against you. We saw that at Dover. He was running second all by himself, crashed that car. So he's probably going to have to dial it back a little bit like he did when he first came in this year.
Now, Stenhouse's troubles at Dover brought a third player into the championship picture. Austin Dillon is just 2 points behind Stenhouse in the championship. Last year's Truck Series champion, a rookie in this series. Can he contend for the title, Rusty?
Alan, I think he really can. He's not supposed to because he's a rookie, just like you said, but I watched him run a little bit last year, and this year he's been really, really strong. And look, you cannot deny how strong Richard Childress Racing is with their horsepower, and his grandfather, Richard Childress, really working hard. And that black number 3, trust me, that means a lot. They're working hard. They want that kid up front, and I'm telling you, I'm going to go out on a limb right now and say something. I think that Austin Dillon's going to win this championship.
Well, mark it down. June the 16th. We'll see how it plays out come November. Austin Dillon starts in the best spot possible today, Dave.
Mark the tape, Alan, just for Rusty's comments. Hey, they can see that championship lead from third place. And the good news is that many times this weekend, your car has been clocked fastest, including when it counted in qualifying. So with these high speeds, what's the most challenging part for drivers today?
I think you're going to want to manage your tires all day, make sure that we don't have any problems like we had in the Cup Garage, and really focus on hitting your marks out there. And the draft's going to be pretty big, and we have a Chevrolet engine, so it's going to run.
Going to run very well, he hopes, today. Hitting his marks, guys, that's been a mantra throughout racing careers here, and he's going to do his best today.
Austin Dillon, our pole sitter in Michigan today. The engines fire soon. The opening ceremony is next.
NASCAR is back in Michigan, back in the shadow of the Motor City. In Detroit, horsepower is forged through manpower. Today, they come together. Their engines hit full song. The real music of Motown.
The shadow of the Motor City reaches 70 miles to its southwest to the Michigan International Speedway, where this race is just a little more important for the drivers and their teams, Dave.
Now, on this track, with its proximity to Detroit and the big 3 passenger car manufacturers, has always been a bit of a proving ground for their race cars. Did you know Chevy, Ford, and Dodge own all 20 nationwide victories at this track, even with the addition of Toyota in 2007. Will Toyota be able to break the string today with these ultra-high speeds here at the Michigan International Speedway? 250 miles will tell.
Race fans, once again, remain standing with your hats removed for the colors presented today by the 246th Transportation Battalion of Jackson, Michigan. And here offering today's invocation, Michigan Representative Mike Sharkey.
Okay, let's ask for blessing on today's race. Heavenly Father, it is with humility and awe that we lift your name with praise. As we gather today, as inspired by the creativity and innovation manifest in motorsports, yet our works pale in comparison to the wonders of your creation. All that we have and all that we can do are blessings from you. Now guide those who serve to be gentle in spirit and kind in their actions. Protect those who perform today, Lord, and cover this track with your strong arm of safety. Bless those who are here to be entertained as they enjoy the fruits of their labor, and guide our thoughts and our words, guard our hearts from this world. May this day be a blessing to you. And all God's people said, amen.
And now with our national anthem, once again, Jara, Jenna, and Jillian, the Leffering sisters.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the
Of course, it's Father's Day weekend, and every driver, most every team member was introduced to this sport by Dad. NASCAR racing has for generations produced special bonds between fathers and sons, and so the celebration of Father's Day weekend at the racetrack is a pretty natural thing for the competitors of the NASCAR Nationwide Series as they go 250 miles at Michigan on a splendid Saturday afternoon.
Happy Father's Day, Dad. I love you, and thank you for everything that you've done to help me get to where I am today.
I would tell my dad, thank you for being an amazing father, and I wanted to wish you a happy Father's Day.
I want to say happy Father's Day to my dad. He always tell me never to quit. Just keep going out and keep fighting, and good things will happen. So happy Father's Day, and I love you very much.
Happy Father's Day, Dad. I definitely wouldn't be here without you, so happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
Happy Father's Day to Mike Dillon, wild dad who I love to the moon and back.
Almost time to go racing on what promises to be a day of high speeds, high action, and high anxiety for many before the engines fire at Michigan. More stories from Pit Road. Here's Dr. Jerry Punch.
Thank you very much, Alan. You know, with the new asphalt and the record-setting speeds approaching 200 miles per hour entering the corner, one of the big unknowns for the race today, these guys right here, the tires. Now, we haven't had a tire issue all weekend, but consider this. The most laps into the top teams have run on these tires is 12 consecutive laps in practice. What happens when they go 20 in a row or 30 in a row and the heat builds up? Well, we don't know. That's why NASCAR will have a competition yellow at lap 25. After that, they say the teams, you're on your own. Here's Shannon Spake.
Well, Doc, one car has led the most laps at the last two intermediate racetracks, and that's the 33 of Richard Childress Racing. Paul Menard behind the wheel of this car today, and good news for Menard is that this is the same exact car that they raced in both of those races. I asked him before he climbed in his race car, do you think you can win today? He said, yep, I think I can. Mike?
At the beginning of the week, Cole Whitt's crew chief Bruce Cook told me if I can get him to run inside the top 5 and be able to see the front consistently, he will win races. Whitt can certainly see the front. After a career-best qualifying effort, he'll roll off second this afternoon. He goes into this race looking for the upset victory and his first career win in the Nationwide Series. Alan?
Michael, thank you. So many wonderful stories to follow throughout the field and so many things we just don't know. And we're going to have to see how they turn out on this newly repaved Michigan International Speedway. Time to go trackside for those famous words to get the day underway.
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here's your Grand Marshal from Big and Rich, Big Kenny.
Hello, fans, brothers and sisters. Let's have ourselves some fun. Save the fun and ride a fast race. Yeah! I guess it's time to say, drivers, start your engines.
Fired up when you're ready. Blade reaction.
All right, a race that has been anticipated and speculated about for weeks is now finally about to begin. What will these 250 miles bring about on the very fast Michigan International Speedway today? With Rusty Wallace and Andy Petrie, and I guess that's exactly the question. From the driver and crew chief perspective, starting a race with this many unknowns is like what?
It's very, very tough. But one thing I can tell you, what you need to do, though, in this particular race is to have patience. Be very, very patient at the start because you don't know how your car is going to handle. You don't know what's going to happen to the tires. There's way too many unknowns. They need to run the first part of this race, understand those unknowns, and then get after it.
We have never seen a race like we're going to see here today. It reminds me of the days of racing at Daytona and Talladega without restrictor plates. This is going to be a hybrid version of that. We've never seen that before on a 2-mile track with not as much banking as we're used to seeing with those kind of speeds. So you don't really know what to expect. The crews don't know what to do to the car, how to adjust it. It's just going to be so many unknowns. It's going to be exciting to watch, and we'll all learn at the same time.
What's it like to drive a Nationwide Series car flat out through the corner without lifting? Well, we've got some great onboard views for you to find out as we go through the course of today's race. Our high-definition onboard cameras today ride with the pole sitter, Austin Dillon, with the Advocare camera. The defending series champ, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. with a Ford EcoBoost camera. Danica Patrick's got our GoDaddy.com on board. Michael McDowell with the Toyota camera. Brad Keselowski, the Nationwide Insurance camera. James Busher's got the Fresh from Florida on board. Justin Allgaier, the Chevy on board. And Brad Sweet has our Goodyear onboard camera. Mentioned Brad Keselowski, the winner of this race 2 of the last 3 years, is our ESPN in-race reporter for the day. We will hear from Brad throughout the course of this race as we, in fact, dial up Brad now as he gets set to roll off and check in with him.
Brad Keselowski, Rusty Wallace up here in the booth. You got us? Hey, Brad, Rusty in the booth. You got us? Looks like they're still trying to get hooked up and get ready here. Brad Keselowski, Rusty Wallace up in the booth. You got us?
All right, a little technical hiccup there, so we'll get our pit crew to jump on board that. We'll get back to Brad here in just a minute. Andy, another element that we might see in this race today, a lot of teams are concerned about engines. We don't normally see a lot of engine failures in NASCAR these days, particularly a Nationwide Series. Might today.
We may do that. Just imagine going down the interstate, getting on the ramp, and putting the pedal to the floor and holding it there until it runs out of gas. That's what we're going to see today. They're going to hold these pedals on the mat. These engines are going to be revving basically max RPMs until the race is over. And it is hard on engines, especially ones that are built to the limit like these are.
You know, this track, it has so much grip, but although the grip levels change throughout the practice sessions, we talked to some of the drivers who said they could run wide open with relative ease, but now we're hearing today they've had to alter that a little bit. The track's getting slicker. So the groove right now also is very narrow. So a slick track with not as much grip as they had in practice and a narrow groove, these early laps, in my opinion, are going to be pretty tough.
So as the cars roll off onto the speedway for our parade and pace laps, we thank you for following NASCAR Countdown over to ESPN News. Our coverage of the race goes over to ABC in just a couple of moments' time, where we will bring you the NASCAR Nationwide Series action there. Those on ABC watching the IndyCar race at the Milwaukee Mile, that action is coming over here for the conclusion of the race to ESPN News. So here on ESPN News for the IndyCar race and for the NASCAR Nationwide Series, green flag from here at Milwaukee. Tune to your local ABC station right now. We'll be there in about 15 seconds or so, and we'll have the green flag for you. An exciting race at Michigan.
The following is a special presentation of ESPN on ABC.
Live at the Michigan International Speedway, the NASCAR Nationwide Series getting set to go 250 miles on a newly paved track with record-breaking speeds. The top 20 in qualifying broke the old track record. A day of unknown set to play out on this high-bank 2-mile oval. Alan Bestrick, Rusty Wallace, and Andy Petrie getting set to talk to our ESPN in-race reporter on the pace laps. Michigan native, winner of this race 2 of the last 3 years, Brad Keselowski.
Brad Keselowski, Rusty Wallace up in the ESPN booth. You got us?
Yes, sir, Rusty.
Brad, we got an ESPN mailbag question, and it comes from Jeff in Portland, Oregon. And the question is, with the speed so high, how hard will it be to race here today?
Well, they don't get any easier to win when the speeds are slow, but here today it's just going to take different strategy, Rusty. You know, you're going to have to make smarter moves, probably a little bit more calculated. And I think the big question is if the groove will widen out to where we can run side by side. But with the Nationwide cars, you know, you get such a big draft, you can really make some headway that way. So I'm kind of excited to see how it plays out here at Michigan. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I think the Nationwide race here will be the best race possibly of the whole year at NASCAR.
Well, I'll tell you what, buddy, I got to agree with you on that. One more question I've got, though. We saw 4 blown engines yesterday over there in the Nationwide Series, and it looks like the RPMs are really up there, really sustained RPMs. Have you and your team talked about any concerns about engine problems today because of these sustained RPMs?
No, you know, I think the Dodge group does a really good job with engine reliability. Knock on wood there. But, you know, I think that's not an issue that we're going to have. There's some other groups I think are a little more aggressive that might have that issue, but, you know, everybody at Penske Engine has done a good job with that to make sure we got good reliability, and I feel pretty confident we'll be all right.
All right, buddy, thanks for talking to us. Have a great race.
Brad Keselowski, winner of this race 2 of the last 3 years, carrying one of our onboard cameras for us today as well. Carrying our over-the-wall camera today is the front tire carrier for James Buescher's Amway number 30 car. It's Ben Fetzer, Virginia native. Ben, have a great race down there. Ben's getting ready to go. So, major stories on the day today. A $7 million repave of this Michigan track over the offseason that has resulted in record-breaking speeds. The top 20 in qualifying broke the Nationwide Series track record that had stood here since 2007. Most of these cars, because of the engine package they run in practice and in qualifying, the drivers are running around this 2-mile track without lifting the gas pedal off the floorboard. The Sprint Cup Series side here this weekend has experienced some tire difficulties. Those have not been seen on the Nationwide side. It'll be kept a close eye on from pit road today. What the high speeds mean for the racing, how much drafting will come into play here like it does at Daytona and Talladega, the other big fast tracks on the circuit, and what the winning strategy will be. Nobody knows.
And what's the real fuel mileage? You don't even really know that because they don't know if how much they're going to be drafting and how they're going to be lifting the throttle, if they are at all.
Other big stories on the day. A tight championship race coming into the race. A hot driver, Joey Logano, starting inside row number 2. Keep an eye on him in the Joe Gibbs 18. And a reminder that our broadcast is available in Spanish by activating your SAP button presented by ESPN Deportes. It's a track that has a history of not seeing many caution flags. Last year's race, only 3 yellow flags in a 250-mile distance. Get all you can as fast as you can.
Yeah, but you can throw all, like Rusty said, throw the record book away because we don't know what we're going to see.
And is that top group going to be wide enough for 2 cars as they take the green flag getting into turn 1? I'll be watching that. Right now, the group's awful narrow.
Green flag, we are racing at Michigan. Two of the young rising stars in the sport in the top 2 spots. California's trouble, Danica Patrick. And another car around behind her, Brad Sweet. No contact? Somehow.
I think they probably were related. We saw Danica spinning. I'm sure that's what Brad Sweet saw. Maybe he got tagged from behind. If not, it was surely coincidental that both of them spun at the same time.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident Danica got loose. Just a classic spin. They're a little false security about how much grip her car really had, and then Brad's got to react to it.
Well, one thing they haven't done is go down in that corner full throttle in a wad like they were with all those cars around each other. That takes a lot of air off the sides of the cars, and they don't make near the downforce. They're not going to drive the same in racing conditions as they did in practice.
Patrick in the 7 car was running 5th.
She's got that right rear tire just outside the groove, or at least at the top of the groove.
Yeah, Andy, that's key what you just said. The right rear tire is right up in the gray, I call it, where the groove is still narrow, like I talked about earlier. That it looks like Brad Sweet just had to make a reaction to slow up, and he's the one that got loose. And you see the 30 car, James Booster, getting loose in front of Danica also. That might have caused Danica to get out of the throttle a little bit and cause this to happen.
You know, it's funny because that's where I was just going to ask you. I talked with Danica in the garage here yesterday, and she said with these cars, when you jump out of the gas quickly, the car can tend to snap around on you. When that 30 car bobbled in front of her, maybe she just jumped out of the gas.
Yeah, that's one thing you're talking about, Alan. That D-cell torque that these engines produce, when you let off the throttle and they go to idle, they produce about 100 or more, 150 more horsepower in the negative direction. I've measured it before. It's really a pull on those rear tires, so it can almost be kind of like pulling up the handbrake or the emergency brake. That's kind of what that's like when you back off the gas too hard.
And then after the 7 spun, there's Brad Sweet in the 38, another one of the young drivers in the sport.
Tell you what, he got pretty lucky right there. He got that right rear quarter panel up against that wall. Doesn't look like he's got much damage. You hear those things just sliding up there?
He started spinning. He started spinning the same time Danica did. That really wasn't related.
You know, one thing I will tell you guys, this track is so fast. We talk about how much grip it's got. But in order to withstand these new track conditions, you got to have a pretty hard tire to do that. It takes some heat in these tires to get the grip level up. And these guys were awful early in this race. Probably the heat wasn't there where they needed it yet.
Brad Sweet in just his 6th NASCAR Nationwide Series race, getting repairs made to his car. He was running 12th at the time, and Patrick was 5th. Under caution, we're back to Michigan after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Car off as we we come back to the Alliance Truck Parts 250 for the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Michigan, and the green is out again.
Green flag. Inline will start finish 2 by 2. 30s with you. Low bomb here.
For the lead for the moment, Joey Logano in that yellow car trying to get to the inside. Little boat drafting by the youngsters in the outside lane.
We can see that Austin Dillon really wanted to get up front and just did not get through the gearbox as quick as needed to. Now he's underneath Joey Logano going for second, guys.
Well, you see Allgaier, he's almost on the apron through the corner. He got loose that lap before.
Cole Whitt leads in Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s 88. Austin Dillon.
We talked about Cole Whitt earlier when he qualified. His rear spoiler, you're allowed to have adjustable spoiler. We call them ears on each side. Most of the people are running 2-inch tall ears on the spoiler. He's only got 1 inch. That's legal, but that gives you less downforce. But it gives you more speed in the straightaway too. So my question, Andy, I wonder how long that lack of downforce is going to hold on for Cole Whitt, because right now it looks like it's paying off for him in the straightaways.
I think it'll work fine as long as he's out front like he is and not in traffic. But when he gets back in traffic, I think he's going to miss that extra downforce from those pieces that go on the end of the spoiler. It is a trade-off, like you said. It's trade-off for straightaway speed versus downforce and stability and a little bit of drag.
Justin Allgaier, 10th place. Now, a couple of stories to follow up on from that first caution. Danica Patrick restarted 40th after giving up 5th in the spin. Brad Sweet restarted 39th after giving up 12th in the spin. And that car, Kurt Busch, on pit road with some damage on the car, Dave.
Alan, they had a whole nose back here that they could have put on the car, but instead they took a cutting tool, came across the bottom part, took it off, gave him only the top part for aerodynamics, left the bottom part here in the pits so they didn't interrupt any of the airflow that was okay in the car. He hit the 22 of Brad Keselowski. That's what caused the damage. But this minor repair they think is going to take him a long way.
Well, they needed to fix that, though, because the aero part of this is a big part of the equation. When they're running these speeds, that comes way more into play, so they want to make sure they've got that right. One thing I'm seeing, we were expecting the groove to get a little bit wider, and I think it will, but it's going to go in a direction that I don't think we thought of. I think it's going to get wider to the bottom. I've seen cars running lower on the racetrack than I've seen in practice the whole time.
Well, Andy, you and I went out there this morning in a pace car. We drove this track several laps, and we were both amazed how a lot of people really don't treat this racetrack like it's got compound banking. But the very bottom lane of this particular racetrack is banked about 16 degrees. The rest of the racetrack is 18. That's where you see them running about a lane off the bottom. That's where the most angle of banking is. But every now and then they'll go down to the bottom where nobody's been, try to get a little extra grip, try to get something out of it. But one thing we did find out this morning, boy, this track is smooth.
See Kurt Busch trying to make up some of the ground lost from the pit stop. We'll show you how he got the damage in that big first lap jam up in turn 4. Watch Kurt in the 54.
Yeah, right there. He gets in the back of Keselowski. Real big. And Keselowski did a great job not to crash. A lot going on in that replay.
So that's how the 54 car got the damage on the nose. And again, he's trying to dig out from that lost track position. Also, a quick mention, Kenny Wallace was on pit road under that first yellow, and the hood was up on the 99 car. He has rejoined the race.
You know, when I see guys open the hood nowadays, and doesn't seem to be anything wrong with the engine, a lot of times they're trying to get those noses off the ground. Those splitters run so low to the ground, and sometimes they're bottoming out. And they really don't see that in practice, but they see it in the race, and they got to actually take those screw jacks, screw them down, raise those noses up, and get them off the racetrack. We've seen this many times this year.
Kurt Busch in that 54 restarted in 36th position. The 0-1 of Mike Wallace is in 17th, and Kurt's taken that spot from him.
Yeah, he's one of the few cars making passes right now. I expected to see the cars bunched up a little bit more than this. They're kind of getting strung out, but the leaders are not getting away from each other. They're still kind of staying in that same group.
You got to give that team a hand, the 54 team of Kurt Busch. I mean, to go in there and cut that nose completely out and replace it with a different section on a caution flag. And that was a pretty big section they replaced. I mean, because that was a tough job to do that.
5th place here 30 is James Busher. 22 is Brad Keselowski.
This is where I want to watch and see if this drafting pull will bring Keselowski back up to the leaders. There's 4 cars up ahead of him. Now, I just wonder if he will be able to use that draft to catch that group.
Elliott Sadler in the 2, around James Busher there. Sam Hornish Jr. is in that 12, the yellow car. He's the 4th one in the group.
Now, this was a great time to see how much drafting they'll get, because now they're lined up pretty good. I'd like to see if Sam Hornish can run up on the car of Busher and get up in that slipstream and suck right up to the backup like they do at Daytona and Talladega.
So after an initial opening lap scramble, the race has settled down just a bit. Cole Witt in the 88 has led every lap so far. Austin Dillon runs second. Joey Logano trying to chase him down. We're still very early at Michigan.
ESPN's coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series on ABC. Brought to you by Nationwide Insurance. Call now to get a quote.
17 of 125 laps in the books in the NASCAR Nationwide Series race at the Michigan International Speedway. And the picture at the head of the pack has changed a little bit from when we went to the break. The 88 car that was leading is now not, and it is Austin Dillon in the 3 out in front, pursued by Joey Logano in the 18. Logano getting that toe in the draft.
Been able to pull right up to the back bumper. And they caused some traffic just a lap or so ago. It looked like Dillon was able to pull out just about a car length or 2 away from Joey Logano.
It looks like they get a couple car lengths behind the bumpers. By the time they get to the end of the straightaway, they're right on their bumper. So there seems to be a little bit of draft effect going in. Probably not as much as I anticipated was going to happen.
Again, one of those unknowns. Everybody was speculating and wondering how it was going to be. They're finding out now. So Cole Witt was the leader. He's now back in 3rd, being challenged there by Paul Menard. As we check back on them, there's the race for 3rd.
You know, when I watch this groove, Andy, it just seems like it's staying about the same width right now. I would think as this race heats up, we talk about being patient. That's what I would be doing right now. Understanding the track, understanding what you need out there. And they pretty well got themselves spread out now. I got to believe that later in the race, they're really going to start get after it, start working that high lane. But right now, it's still pretty narrow.
Well, you see where they're running. They're running in that section of the track, which is basically kind of the middle. They're not running all the way down to the apron or on that white line. And what's happening is when they do need to make passes, they're still not brave enough to jump out there on that outside of that groove, but they are going down to the bottom of the racetrack and using that flatter part to try to make passes. I saw Kurt Busch do it earlier, and we've seen some other cars get down there.
I mentioned Kenny Wallace was on pit road with the hood up on the 99 car. He's fallen a lap down in 32nd place while the lead changes hands in turn 3.
Joey got a good run on Austin Dillon, just drafted right past him. Like we talked, maybe it wasn't working. Well, it was working just there, so it worked out good for him. But look how much he's catching him right now down the straightaway. Pulling right up to the back of Joey Logano, Austin Dillon is now.
See, just feathering the throttle, not all the way out of the throttle. But they're not able to hold it completely flat wide open in traffic and with these tires after they get some heat and laps on them.
Well, I got to tell you, compared to the old racetrack, though, to listen to these throttles right now, you used to go down there, Andy, and get on the brake, get completely out of the gas pedal, coast halfway around the corner, and then get back on it.
Yeah, this is 18 degrees of banking. It's not up to 30 degrees like you see some of these higher tracks.
And now with this new track, no brake whatsoever, barely out of the throttle, a really hard tire. But boy, this track is smooth as silk, and the grip level is sky high like we talked about.
Don't forget competition caution coming at lap 25 for the teams to check on the tire wear over the course of a longer run. NASCAR will wait till all the lead lap cars have completed that 25th lap before you see the yellow flag. So that ticker top of your screen may say 26 before you actually see the yellow flag. So, talked about Cole Witt losing out on the lead a minute ago. It was an interesting and exciting moment when the 3 went by the 88. Want to go back and show that to you. Watch this.
We talked about 88 car having a little bit less downforce on the rear because he's got those optional wings down just lower than most. Right there is what you lose by doing that. You lose that rear downforce, especially when you get somebody right up behind you like that.
So the conversation right now is probably going, boy, I wish we would have had those taller ears on our rear spoiler. Why in the world did we put the short ones on? They put it on because they got them on the front row.
Now, they can do that. They can make a pit stop today and change those ears. They have to change them both. They can't just go out with one. They have to change them both before they go back out, but they can change it.
Oh, that's close.
Ooh, that is close.
Allgaier, 31, Hornish, 12. And Brian Scott in the 11. The other yellow car there racing for position, and in some lap traffic, things got a little tight. Brian Scott in that 11 car had a great finish, 3rd place at Dover last race after certainly something much sought after a very difficult start to the season for him.
You know what, he really turned it around, though. I mean, he has just had so many accidents. Really, a lot of them not his fault. This young man had a lot of pressure on him to perform over there at Dover. He had a great race at Dover. Finished in the top 5. Had a good run.
Yeah, that's a track that's tough to get through without getting in a crash.
And the yellow flag is waving. There's your competition caution. Second yellow of the race.
So now you'll wonder, will Cole Witt bolt some of the spoiler ears, we call them, back on the back, or make a chassis adjustment?
Well, I mean, he's still running 3rd. It's not like he fell deep in the pack. They could actually make maybe a chassis adjustment and see if they can help the situation that he's got. But it's going to take a while to change those spoiler pieces, and he wouldn't want to give up that kind of track position right now. There's still 26 cars in the grass.
Story refresher. New pavement on this Michigan track. The Sprint Cup Series teams that are running considerably faster into the corners have experienced some difficulty with the left side tires that Goodyear brought for this race. Nothing like that in the Nationwide Series through the Friday practices so far. And NASCAR has brought a replacement tire that Sprint Cup teams will use on the left side in tomorrow's 400-mile race, but not expecting any troubles on the left sides with these Nationwide cars. The competition caution allowing teams over the course of a long run to get the tires changed in their cars and have a look just to be sure.
Well, here's the thing, Alan. Those lap times had really stayed pretty fast from the start of the race till that caution fell. The caution is for this competition caution is to look at the tires if they want to look at them. They don't have to.
And they're doing that because
they could just do rights, or they could just do gas and go. They could do anything here on this pit stop. So it'll be interesting to see just what these teams are thinking and whether they want to get these tires off and look at them.
And, you know, we've done a lot of practicing in the past, but they've never run this many laps continuous in practice, 25. And you and I were talking off air earlier, Andy, about how you can practice and practice all you want, but there's nothing like the real race to figure out what you got and what you don't have. That's the reason so many teams will start the race and go, man, this car was good last night. Now it's terrible. You just can't duplicate it exactly.
Road now.
All right, time for some stops.
All the way down here.
See what those tires look like. Shannon Spake.
And Paul Menard pulls that 33 car into his pit box. He says it's bouncing between loose and tight. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment, track bar, 4 tires, and Sunoco fuel. Mike?
Cole Witt complaining that he's over-rotating a bit in the corner. They're going to make a wedge adjustment, also an air pressure adjustment. Right side tires are complete. Now around to the left side. 4 tires, Doc.
Joey Logano says he's really free and worse in traffic and tied off. 4 tires. Fuel, they're going to fill it up with Sunoco fuel, make an air pressure adjustment in front of him. Austin Dillon, I am very, very tight. Austin says, free me up on exit only. Austin sitting still. Logano goes by, still sitting down with a 3 car, and now finally Dillon will leave this pit box. Guys?
A couple of strategy calls there.
Yeah, that was an opportunity. See, Allgaier, he didn't take any tires, gained 6 spots. Hornish goes out, gains 9 with the right side tire chain.
And Danica Patrick also getting just fuel only. Kenny Wallace turned his car into the garage under this caution. Ben Fetzer carrying front tires for James Buescher in the 30 car in action under the caution flag.
All right, here we go. 4 tires, the wedge adjustment. Sending both tires to the front.
Parrish Hills of Michigan, the Michigan International Speedway hosting the NASCAR Nationwide Series for the one and only time this year. Newly repaved track, some early anxious moments. Had a lap one spin for Danica Patrick and Brad Sweet. Kurt Busch damaged in the melee, but repairs made. And all of those cars have continued in the race. ABC Monday, the Glass House puts the lives of 14 contestants in your hands. The game is played by them, but they're played by you. The Glass House series premiere Monday after The Bachelorette on ABC. A little pontoon boat action on a near 90-degree Saturday afternoon. Not bad. Strategy being played. Sam Hornish Jr. 12. Yellow car outside lane is now your leader. Brad Keselowski spent a long time on pit road. He's back in 25th place, Dave.
Alan, the original plan was to fix the damage on the left rear of the car and take 2 left side tires for Brad. But when he came in the pit, they realized after they went to work on the left side, they said, Brad, that hole in the front is huge. It was right near the right front lower brake duct, and they realized they had to put some patches on that as well. So as the 22 returns, it's patched up on both the left rear where he had contact with Kurt Busch, and on the right front, you see that big patch on the left there, that black spot. They had to get that fixed.
All right, Dave, thanks. So Brad back in 25th place for the restart. Fuel only for Danica Patrick has moved her up in the running order to 8th position. Sam Hornish Jr. moved from 10th to the race lead. Joey Logano, 4 tires. He will share the front row for this restart with Hornish. And anything else I neglected to mention here? Justin Allgaier also, fuel only. 31 car moved from 9th up into the 3rd position. I think I got it all.
Sounds like you got it all.
Well, we just have to see how quick Brad Keselowski can get through this field now, get up front. It's going to be fun watching him.
Right side's only for Brad Sweet, also recovering from that early spin. Moved up from 22nd spot. He's in 16th. Pushed through to the lead by Paul Menard in the 33, who races Logano for second.
And boy, when Logano and Paul Menard got side by side, it slowed him down a little bit, and Hornish just started checking out. But that restart was amazing with that push that Hornish got. Really looked like a Daytona Talladega move to me, guys. It just got him right past the guys.
They can't really bump, draft, or push through the corners, but they can certainly do it on the straightaways. Got to be careful about it. If they're making contact, they've got to separate before they get to the turn.
On board, James Busher.
Seen very little of that. I expected to see maybe a little more of the bump drafting on the straightaways, but we haven't really seen it.
Andy, before the show started, you and I were both concerned about these sustained RPMs in these engines. How long can these motors last? Because they're putting, it's pretty grueling what they're going underneath, what they're going through right now compared to what they normally go through.
Yeah, the other thing, too, is they had 3 practice sessions here. A lot of laps, a lot of miles they put on these engines before this one started.
Now, they have run the same amount of RPM at Daytona and Talladega, but this particular combination of the engine has got much more horsepower, so it really beats the motor up a lot harder. So I'm really kind of watching what's going to happen late in the race to see if these engines can survive or not.
Second place, look at it accordioning together here as Logano and Menard are side by side. This from Austin Dillon.
And Alan, this is where you really got to be careful. When you're really tight to a car, like Austin is to Justin Allgaier, going at the corner with these real hard tires, man, that can make you big time loose. And that's where you got to err on a little bit of caution. The lower car, get into the corner, because it'll make you loose.
And look at Allgaier, wiggle just a little bit, but stays in it.
Okay, what a great example that was of what you mentioned earlier, Rusty. The 2 cars getting side by side, slowing down each other in comparison to the one that's running single file. How quickly when 33 and 18 got side by side, they brought those other cars up to them.
Alan, I'd say in the car as a driver, when you're in that situation, you're coming down the back straightaway, you almost feel like you've lost about 50 horsepower. You can feel the car, just the RPMs come down, it bogs you down, and boy, that guy in front of you takes off.
Michael McDowell.
That was the move.
20 car. Little 3-wide move there. Cole Whitt in the 88 trying to follow him through.
Guys look a little bit racier right now than they did at the start of the race. Probably a little more confidence built up in them. They know what the car is going to do now. Plus, we're on fresher tires.
See Danica back there in that group. She had a big slip in the opening lap of that restart. Lost about 5 or 6 spots. Mentioned Cole Whitt. We were talking about tires earlier, Michael.
It's been a big story all weekend, especially in the Sprint Cup Series garage, Alan. Lots of blistering over there. So much, in fact, they brought in a new tire and added a practice this afternoon. We haven't seen a problem in the Nationwide Series per se. However, there are indications that maybe we are starting to see some problems. This is the right rear tire off of Cole Whitt's car. A very small blister on it right now. We'll monitor the situation as the day plays out.
Hard to tell just from that shot. You can see the big scuff on the tire from where he locked it up coming into the pit stall.
Yeah, you see that right there, and it's like, okay, is that really a blister, or is that possibly something where he ran over a little bit of debris coming in the pits, and you can see where he slid it? I'm not too worried about that when I see it, especially on the right rear tire. We haven't seen any problems with the rights, even on the Cup cars, so I wouldn't get too worried about it yet unless he sees it again.
You know, one thing I'm going to remind you about, Goodyear's done a fantastic job with the tire testing. They brought the best teams they possibly can. They did a ton of testing. They saw no problems whatsoever. But still, it's not the real racing conditions they test under.
Sam Hornish Jr. leads. I know one thing I forgot to mention. Josh Richards got the free pass at the last caution. We're back to Michigan after this message and a word from our ABC stations. The NASCAR Nationwide Series at the Michigan International Speedway. Looking at the race for the lead, Sam Hornish Jr. in Roger Penske's 12 and Joey Logano in Joe Gibbs's 18. Dodge versus Toyota at the head of the pack. We're already past the 1/4 mark of the race. Had a couple of cautions already. An early spin at lap 1, a competition caution at lap number 26. Lead lap, there are 27 of the 43 starters. Kenny Wallace has just returned from the garage area. Brad Keselowski, 22. Brad Sweet, 38. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 6, who really has made no progress toward the front.
Yeah, we didn't see Ricky Stenhouse run good in practice at all. Very uncharacteristic for this team. And you would think of all places up here in Detroit where this is so important to Jack Roush, they'd have been game on. Now, they might be there at the end of the race, but, man, they have struggled all through practice with that number 6 Ford.
They've actually lost a few spots since the restart, too. What's going on with that 6 car, Mike?
Well, much of the same of what they experienced throughout the course of practice. They made wholesale adjustments to that race car on the last pit stop. Get this, these are the things they did. Dropped the track bar. They put 2 rubbers in the left rear. Took a round out of the right rear. Lots of work being done on that 6. It's been pretty much a struggle throughout the course of the weekend, and it doesn't look like it's gotten much better, guys.
Yeah, all those adjustments are for a loose race car. You can see right there, too. He's still loose.
You know, Andy, I've watched when you get a loose race car and you make 3 or 4 adjustments and the car doesn't respond to them.
You know what I do?
What would you do?
Go the other way.
Well, look at the hand gestures he's making in the car. He's got the button on his right hand. He's talking to the crew chief, and he's like talking with his hands while he's...
That is his point across, man. We got to fix this car.
That's a good point.
Uh-oh.
Go the other way with the adjustments if you got to. Here's Austin Dillon coming out pit road. This is unscheduled.
From 9th place.
You think you got a loose wheel, do 4. Don't take the chance. Do 4 if you think you got...
That's good advice coming from Richard Childress. Change 4 tires if you think you got a loose wheel.
That what they think it is, Doc?
Yeah, bad vibration, exactly, Alan. And although the driver, Austin Dillon, the rookie driver, says it thinks it's the right side tires, he wants right sides only. You heard the grandfather say, get 4 when they listen to the driver, not the guy who owns the car. We'll see how that turns out for him.
That may not work out too good, Doc. Especially if that thing's still vibrating.
It's literally amazing as a driver how you feel that maybe it's the right front or the right rear.
You can't really tell
and
that,
it transfers from side to side. I mean, it very well could be a left rear.
If they got it, it was by chance.
They need to look at the wheels right now and see if the wheels are oblong, and they know for a fact. If not, they got to get it back in here real quick.
So Dillon losing a lap there in the process and goes from the 9th position back to 27th. Still plenty of time. Try and work your way up to be that first car a lap down, which he is at the moment, and see if you can catch a caution and catch the free pass to get back on the lead lap.
Well, he's got time to get the free pass and get back up there, Alan, right now at this point in the race.
Yeah,
he's got a fast car.
And that vibration could have been a blistered tire, too. That's one thing that you don't want to mess with, because you don't know if it's a loose wheel or possibly a blistered tire would vibrate also. Looks like they found the right one.
I saw that.
They got lucky there.
Saw a gesture right there. Crew chief looks like he's on it himself. He's upset.
Yeah, you can see the oblong holes in the wheel. That would be the telltale sign.
Getting reports that the race leaders got something going on. Dave?
About 5 laps ago, Alan, he radioed in that he had a slight vibration in the rear end of the race car. When I got down to the 12th pit, I asked the tire changers, just kind of motioning to them, everything tight? Yes, they said. And then later they came up to me and said, they are going so fast out there, we make sure that they are all tight. So Sam has reported now the vibration has stabilized. They think they're okay. Dr. Jerry Punch?
We showed you the right rear tire off Austin Dillon's car, and as Andy talked about, the oblong openings there where the lug nuts come through indicates the right rear tire was loose. They changed the right side tires. However, Austin says the vibration continues, but they're going to get a breakout. The yellow flag coming out.
I'll tell you, anytime you have a vibration and you don't change 4 tires, you're asking for trouble.
Tell you
they
what,
got lucky by getting this caution.
You got that right, Andy. But they're getting the break right now. They're going to get that free pass. It'll work out for them.
Well, we saw Kenny Wallace behind the wall earlier with the hood up on the car. Caution is for smoke from the 99 car.
Usually a sick engine does not get better during the race. I don't care. If it's something inside, it's never going to get better. It's just going to get worse. Shannon, what's going on with them this time?
Well, guys, it was very early in the race. You could literally hear that motor out on the racetrack. Just something was not right. They brought it down pit road pretty early and looked underneath the hood to make sure that everything was still, still in there, and all the valves were right and all the wires were right, and they didn't see anything. They brought it back, looked under the hood again, and it was a broken valve spring, but they said they fixed it. Obviously, still troubles for the 99. Alan?
Tell you what, he's got to be so upset because he's been out of this car for several races now because of lack of sponsorship. Gets a good sponsorship from Family Farmers, and now he's out. Here they come.
Shannon's first up.
Well, Paul Menard still saying that the car is tight, especially in 3 and 4. So they're going to make an adjustment on that 33 car. They're also going to take 4 tires. Dave, 2 tires for the 33. Dave.
They're still deciding in the 12 car what they're going to do. It looks like it'll be a 4-tire change for leader Sam Hornish. Remember, he only took 2 right sides on the first stop.
And Joey Logano will also only take 2 right side tires. They'll top it off with Sunoco Fuel. Now they've made a call to go ahead and take 4 while they're here. 4 tires. They've seen no tire wear, but Joey's saying the car very, very tight on exit. No air pressure change. And now Logano will go out and blend in behind the 38 car.
Got a whole lot of strategy going on there. Some no tires, some 2 tires. Going to shuffle up the running order in just a minute. We'll come back, reset the field, and restart the race. Back at the Alliance Truck Parts 250. Make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. Defending series champ Ricky Stenhouse Jr. on pit road. Hood up, Mike.
And we've documented the handling struggles of Ricky Stenhouse throughout the course of the weekend. They continue. He had come in saying the car was very darty. They popped the hood and they worked on the right front suspension, trying to make this car respond. It hasn't so far, but it looked like a pretty significant adjustment to the right front suspension there as he now finally rolls away.
Continuing the trend of difficulties that Stenhouse has suffered in the last couple of races. With us on NASCAR Countdown earlier, we showed you how at Charlotte Memorial Weekend, mechanical problems on this 6 car.
Yeah, there's a piece of the drive shaft coming out. That was just a mechanical failure. This wasn't. This was just a spin. Running second all by himself at Dover last week. This week they're just not running well. I mean, they came in and looked like they made a change that is not normal. Looked like they were working on something on the sway bar, possibly loading it in a direction to try to help this car.
Check out the season for Stenhouse. First 10 races versus last 2. Average finish 4.5 versus 29.
Yeah, really tough for him. You know, we've heard many times of cars that are so loose, and they make massive adjustments trying to get them better, and it doesn't work. but we saw him working on that right front sway bar, Andy. There was a series of holes on the sway bar arm that they can move around and try to make some adjustments to make that better. Mike, what are they saying now?
They're back in. Mike Kelly had a little conference with his team as Ricky Stenhouse circled the racetrack. They're working on the toe of that race car, still trying to get it right. They weren't able to fix it that first time, giving it another crack this time around.
Yeah, when they're talking about it being darty, they're just changing that toe in, try to help that.
All right, so Stenhouse Jr. going to restart 28th or so in this field when we go back to green. Austin Dillon, one of the other championship contenders, on pit road under the green back at lap 44 from 9th. Remember the loose wheel found? Might not be all they found.
Yep, there's a blister.
Wow.
That will make a vibration, too. That's what I was saying before. When you have tire issues and you have a blistering like this, that's a big piece of rubber that comes off that tire, and it will become way out of balance, and you'll feel that.
And it's something they couldn't see in practice, but here we're exactly heading the race.
Dillon got the free pass on this caution. He's back on the lead lap, and we're back under green. 3 wide for the top spot. James Busher down the bottom. Elliott Sadler in the middle. Paul Menard up top.
Alan, while they're racing out there on the track right now, Ricky Stenhouse is still in the pit area with the hood open, messing with the front of this car. No engine problems or nothing. They're working with the chassis end of it.
How about James Busher? Taking that lead, now he's just lost it with Paul Menard, but this is the kind of race I said we never...
Oh, trouble! Brad Sweet around again.
Like he made slight contact. Wow.
He slid down through the middle of that pack, and somehow nobody hit him.
I cannot believe that. There was 10 or 12 cars that had to make an evasive action there. Looks like he just caught the right rear corner on the wall.
I tell you, I saw this. We saw this weeks ago with Travis Pastrana when Travis just kept losing the car and spinning out. He was so upset.
Did not see any damage on the left rear.
Same problem with Brad Sweet now. It is these multiple spins.
Now look at that. You see the 22 get real loose, and then he nowhere to go. He just got in the back of Brad Keselowski out of the groove then without having the grip that he needed.
We got to give him a break on that one.
Yeah, look at this right here.
Whoa, how he
cool.
slid down through there. Nobody got him.
Some good driving somewhere.
And good spot.
Somebody.
Good spotting up on the roof, too.
Now, you saw with the 22 car, Keselowski was underneath the yellow car Logano, it looked like, and just got aero loose. That rear end just kicked out. Everybody started checking up. And I speculated that Brad just lost it by himself, but he didn't.
Wow.
He had to check up to save himself, and that's what caused the spin. Let's take a look at this again. It's actually Brian Scott alongside Keselowski. Brad just gets loose right there.
That's to chase it.
Yes.
Right there is Brad Sweet. I'll tell you, there's still some grip up there. Even though the track you see is gray, if it didn't have as much grip as it did, he would have really slammed that wall.
Brad Sweet running 8th at the time. Remember, he did not take tires on that last set of pit stops. He was one of the fuel-only guys we saw.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that had anything to do with tires. Just that evasive action that he made, and he found himself completely out of the groove. I think the big thing with tires today is just going to be to make sure you're not going to have a blister tire on your car. There's still speed in the tires, even with laps on them.
Pit road is closed here, so he'll have to start at the end of the line. But you need the fresh tires if he's riding around on the flat.
He's going to be at the back anyway, so it doesn't matter. They just want to get those tires on.
Keep coming, 110, 22. Watch inside now. Inside. No. Save it. The caution is out here.
Here's what I loved about that. The Keselowski spotter, Joey Meyer, save it, sit. Keeping an eye on the tire story, Doc.
You know, Joey Logano dodged the big bullet, guys. On the previous pit stop, he came in and I told you he was going to change 2, and suddenly as he's stopping, he says, no, 4. I'm getting a vibration. So they changed all 4 tires. Let me show you why he was getting a vibration. It's not a wear issue. Very unusual, folks. Look at this. As he was leaving pit road on the previous stop, a loose lug nut laying on pit road, the tire ran over it, and it cut in the right rear tire all the way across. So this tire was coming apart from a cut from a lug nut and was starting to vibrate. So they changed 4 tires. Big break for that yellow for Joey Logano. Alan?
I'm surprised we don't see that more often, because you see sparks flying every time these cars leave pit road with all the loose lug nuts. That time it got to Joey's tire, but he's still lucky.
Just a couple of lead lap cars pitting under this caution now that the pit lane is open. Yellow flag number 4 is out at Michigan. Coming up on halfway of today's Alliance Truck Parts 250 for the NASCAR Nationwide Series, the Michigan International Speedway wrapping up caution flag number 4 that came out when a little traffic jam in turn 4 resulted in Brad Sweet spinning. He has continued. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. still sitting on pit road at the last restart. He is now in 32nd place, 2 laps down to the race leader. As we come to the green, it is Paul Menard on the outside. He's chosen the outside lane as the race leader. James Busher to his inside in 2nd. Then Elliott Sadler in 2, 3rd. 88 Colwitt in 4th. Joey Logano, who has dominated a lot of this race, or run up front a lot of this race, I should say, is only back in 9th position. For the move through the middle in that 54 car.
There's some 3-wide racing.
Tell you what, a driver seemed like he's driving with a sense of urgency. We talked about Logano doing that.
Look out,
well,
contact there.
Look at Kurt Busch. He was just on it right through the middle of all that. Driving really aggressive right now, guys.
Bump traffic.
See some more 3-wide. Starting to widen that groove out. Look at Danica making a move. I believe I would just hang right there with Joey. But hey, here comes an it. He's got the same idea.
It's like they got to let this thing settle out just a little bit on these restarts. They got the grip of the tires. They're all amped up, and they get after it. Boy, I tell you, that last restart, that was really hairy coming down into turn 3 right there. Really getting sideways.
Well, when they get strung out, you see how hard it is to pass. That's the only time they can really make a move is on those restarts, and it's worth the risk.
20 car, Michael McDowell trying to get a spot. Racing for 4th with Elliott Sadler in the 2.
Hey, we talked a lot about Kurt Busch. Whether it's good or bad, he is driving his brains out right now. Came from fixing that front end of that car earlier. Now he's all the way up in the 3rd position. And he's got a fast car. In fact, that last time by, fastest car in the racetrack.
Brad Keselowski, 22, center of the frame, trying to dig back out after another long stay on pit road. He and Justin Allgaier and Jamie Dick, the only 3 of the lead lap cars that pitted under that last yellow. Dave?
All the replays we showed as we see Paul Menard now getting underneath of James Busher. That's through turns 3 and 4. As we saw the replays of Brad Sweet and his spin, all of them showed him hitting the 22 car as Brad had gotten loose. Well, that right rear damage was very important for them to fix. In fact, they put a brace under the right rear of the 22, as well as just taping it up. That side force being very important at this track.
Yeah, Dave, that side force is just about as important as the down force that the spoiler gives you. So that would be something they would want to really protect and make sure they repair that right.
You know, this made me think of something, Andy. I remember Travis Pastrana was at Charlotte and spun a couple times. He says he went in the corner. The team told him, hey, this car creates 650 pounds of side force. They said, go for it. Lean that quarter panel in that air. It won't spin out. It's spun out twice. So that downforce and side force with both of those combos across the rear score out of the car, very important for downforce.
We're at the halfway point of this race, and if you haven't seen the first half, really what it's been a story of so far are drivers having difficulties and going to the back and trying to recover from them. 2 of the 3 in the championship have had trouble so far today. Austin Dillon An unscheduled green flag pit stop that got him a lap down. He got a free pass in that 3 car. He's back on the lead lap. Though
look what he's doing. He's making some passes. I mean, he just blew by that 22.
Just talked about the 22 of Brad Keselowski, and then Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Couple of laps down, 30th place in that 6 car, Mike.
Yeah, and their adjustments that they were trying to make evidently haven't made the car all that much better. They just radioed to Ricky asking him how he felt about the balance. There was a very long pause, and finally Ricky rekeyed the microphone and said, yeah, I'm still a little bit loose. You could definitely hear the frustration in his voice. What they did, just to recap, they tried to change the load on the sway bar. They couldn't do it efficiently. The shock was making contact. It was a very difficult change.
Mike, was the change they made just taking so much time that's the reason they went down to 2 laps? They didn't have any other problem except just the length of the change they were making?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that, guys. What was that?
Yeah, Mike, my question is Rusty. The length of the change that they made on Ricky Stenhouse's car, was it so long? Was that the main reason they went down 2 laps?
Yeah, absolutely. They had to come down pit road a couple of times, and they just couldn't get the adjustment made to their specifications. They wanted to change the load on that sway bar, and it just was stuck. So they couldn't do it efficiently, and therefore they lost quite a bit of track position, as you pointed out.
Yeah, they got a fundamental issue with this car. Look at it. I mean, he can't hardly control it. I don't think you're going to be able to adjust that out of it. Well, obviously they're not. They've been trying all day and haven't been able to do it. So they're just going to have to make the best of it.
You know, Andy, we heard you and I speculated about the sway bar. Then we heard they were working on the toe change also, which they put a little toe out in that car. That might help that loose entry, maybe. But I tell you, I've been in this situation before that Ricky's in, and man, if it's off, it's hard to fix it when a car gets this bad.
5th place here, Sam Hornish in the 12. Has led more laps in this race than anyone. His team played some strategy for track position on an earlier pit stop. Then had to go the other way this time and get 4 tires.
Kurt Busch surrounded by yellow cars. See the 2 Dollar General cars and the Alliance Truck Parts car of Sam Hornish.
Whoa. See Kurt get loose right there.
That's tight.
Yeah, and this is all at about 190 miles an hour.
All right, little team drafting here. Joe Gibbs racing yellow cars.
I expected to see more of that, but now
Logano getting aggressive.
Patience there by Logano. We've seen him do that a lot this year.
He's been doing a lot of that, Andy. You're right. I mean, he really, that's his teammate. You thought he'd ride a little bit, but he pushed him by, got a draft, and passed him.
Leader's getting further away while he's back here.
Gotta go.
Logano by Hornish. 6th place there.
I'm impressed right now with Danica Patrick. She impresses me every week. She spins, gets the courage back up, and now she's back up in the mix right there in the 9th position.
Look at Hornish get loose.
Shannon, what's Danica saying down there? She's looking awful good.
Well, it has been a great recovery for the 7 car. Of course, they made that happen because they opted not to take tires on that competition caution. She stretched those tires 46 laps, and they looked great when they came off. However, Danica did just radio in and say that she has a vibration on this set of tires right now, so we'll keep our eye and ears on that situation.
You see running 8th as far back as 40th after a spin in the opening lap of the race. Paul Menard, Elliott Sadler, 2 Richard Childress racing cars running 1 and 2 here at Michigan. We're back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. The NBA Finals continue on ABC tomorrow night. Coverage tips at 7:30 with Kia NBA Countdown. Then at 8, Kevin Durant and the Thunder down in South Beach take on LeBron James and the Heat in Game 3. ABC, home of the NBA Finals. $140 of the 250 miles complete here at Michigan International Speedway, the NASCAR Nationwide Series race on this newly resurfaced and ultra-fast racetrack. Top 2 spots held by Richard Childress Racing. Paul Menard leading Elliott Sadler. 2 seconds back to James Buescher in 3rd, Kurt Busch in 4th, and Cole Witt in 5th position. Dig a little deeper into the field as we go up to speed with Nationwide Insurance. Doc Joey Logano, 4-time winner this year. Thought we'd see him right up front all day.
Back in 6th right now, Alan, and the problem they've got is the car is just very, very tight on exit. They've come in, Adam Stevens has changed air pressure. They put a rubber in on the last pit stop. He says it's still very, very tight off. A little bit free in, but tight off. Let's go to Mike.
Cole Witt having having a pretty solid run today, although not as good as it began. He began running out front, clean air. The car was much better there. Once he's hit traffic, however, he said he's feeling a little bit of the aero effect of this racetrack now. Not quite as good as it was at the beginning, Shannon.
Well, Brian Scott coming off with one of his career best finishes at Dover, a third-place finish. He is on a hot streak right now, and it is hot inside that race car as the AC has been broken since the very beginning of the race. But other than that, the handling's been very good. They've been working on it only slightly, and he is hanging in the top 10. Now, following him is Danica Patrick. I did mention how she has a vibration on this run. We haven't heard anything else on that. But, guys, they put a lot of emphasis on this track and Indy. Tony Erie Jr., the crew chief, told me they spent a month getting this car ready. She's had solid finishes on the intermediate track, and they put a lot of emphasis on this one. Dave?
The 12 of Sam Hornish Jr. yesterday during practice took a few less laps than they may have wanted to. Actually, crew chief Chad Walter told me that they wanted to limit the number of laps on their car. So they only took 53 laps, hoping to save that motor. You guys talked about hanging RPMs earlier. They hope that they have made that their better strategy today. Mike?
Michael McDowell pretty happy with the car after practice this week. Very happy with the balance, very happy with the speed, although they ended a little bit on the loose side. And that's pretty much where they've been throughout the course of this run, especially in traffic. He says when that happens, the car's a handful, Alan.
There are your top 10. There are 27 cars on the lead lap in all. Most laps led today. Paul Menard is just inched in front of Sam Hornish Jr. for that. And we have had 4 caution flags through the course of the day.
If we get out there far enough, we ought to let our teammates lead a lap. Yeah, we'll give it back. Yeah, Stevie talked to Brett, said if we let them lead a lap, they got to give it right back.
Well, I mean, that's what this 33 not running for the Drivers' Championship, and Elliott Sadler obviously is. So if he hadn't led a lap, they can make this swap, and it kind of makes sense as far as the team goes. I don't think those in the 33's best interest to do that, because that might bring the rest of the cars back up to them. They do have a big lead.
Tell you what, if they're going to do it, though, they need to do it now, because they do have a pretty big lead, like you just said, Andy. They can't mess around too much, but I think that's the proper team thing to do, because it's like you said, Paul is not racing for the title at all, only runs a handful of races, and Elliott's trying to get all the points he probably can, so it's probably the kind thing to do. And if he doesn't do it, there's probably going to be words in the shop on Monday.
Yeah, it would keep peace if they would do it.
Yeah, that would.
Remember, in NASCAR racing, if you lead a lap, any lap during the race, you get 1 bonus point toward the championship. If you lead the most laps, you get a bonus point toward the championship. Last year's Sprint Cup title, decided under this point scoring system, was tied, and they needed a tiebreaker at the end of the year, so every point is critical. Let's talk about some other folks worthy of note during the running of this race. Johanna Long having a solid run in the 70 car. Lead lap and in 13th spot, Shannon.
And Alan, she started the race 14th, so it was a great qualifying effort for the 20-year-old as well. She has been pretty happy with the car the entire race. She says 3 and 4 are a little bit of a struggle, but she feels like she's really making up for that lost speed in 1 and 2. Slight adjustments on that car all race long.
Doing a nice job.
I'm really impressed by Johanna Long. I mean, she's a good little race car driver. She won one of the world's biggest short track races, the Snowball Derby at Pensacola, Florida.
And for those of you in Milwaukee, welcome to the Irish Hills of Michigan and the NASCAR Nationwide Series race here on ABC. Ryan Hunter-Reay winning the IZOD IndyCar Series race at the Milwaukee Mile today. Congratulations to him. Here in Michigan, you see we have 46 laps to go. Storyline of the day here, newly repaved racetrack, producing record speeds. The top 20 broke the old track record in qualifying, a record that had stood here since 2007. These are the leaders. Paul Menard, speaking of Wisconsin, native of Wisconsin, out in front in that bright yellow 33 car. Menard seeking his 2nd win in NASCAR's Nationwide Series. Where was his other win?
Milwaukee.
The Milwaukee Mile.
Paul's from Eau Claire, Wisconsin, so that was probably a very happy win for him. He'd love to do it today, though.
Yes, he would. Stories of the day, some of the championship contenders struggling, while Elliott Sadler, point leader coming in, runs in 2nd to his Childress teammate, Menard.
You talk about Wisconsin. I just wonder if Paul's going to be in the nationwide race next week up at Road America. He's an incredible road racer. Runs real well.
Especially there. That's a track he's got a lot of laps on, obviously, from that area.
He'll be up there next week calling that race. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes,
I like going up there.
Speaking of Wisconsin. Don't believe he is. Think he's going to be out in the Sprint Cup race out in Sonoma, California. Okay. Elliott Sadler creeping in, trying to challenge for the lead. Now these two, for those just joining us, are teammates. Sadler contending for the championship. Menard not eligible for the Nationwide Series title. There was conversation on the radio that Menard would allow Sadler to lead a lap to get a bonus point for the championship if they gapped third place by enough distance. Well, Kurt Busch is the third place car, and he's 3.6 seconds behind these top two. There's the gap from second place Sadler back to third place Kurt Busch. Great recovery from Kurt Busch. Got some damage in a first lap accident. Went all the way back to 36th place. And I would say from the looks of that,
it looks like he's trying to take the lead. I think Paul's just not wanting to play the game.
Yep. 43 laps to go. Another round of pit stops. Not all that far away. Paul Menard leads at Michigan.
At the Michigan International Speedway, final pit stops happening. Brad Keselowski on pit road from the 14th position. Remember, they prepared his car throughout the day. They take on two right side tires, top off the fuel, and just make sure they've got it full because he's got to go to the end. They short pitted just a little bit, which means they came earlier than most of the rest of the field to try to run some faster laps earlier than the rest of the field, Alan.
Dave, thanks twice today. Keselowski has had extended stays on pit road that have sent him back outside the top 25. He had moved up to the 14th spot just before that pit stop. Change for third, Joey Logano up past Kurt Busch. 18 car, four-time winner in the Nationwide Series so far this year. Led some laps earlier in this race. Needs probably a caution flag or certainly an exchange on this pit stop to get a chance to get up there with Sadler and Menard. Here's Michael McDowell in.
And Michael McDowell, as we mentioned during the up to speed, said the car was a handful in traffic. Because of that, they don't want to free it up too much, but they'll make an air pressure adjustment and a four-tire change on the car right now as they complete their service on the left side of that race car. Finally drop them off the jack and away in 13.5 seconds.
Watching that race for third place just a minute ago. Both those third and fourth place cars have hit the pit lane. Joey Logano and Kurt Busch are on pit road while Paul Menard continues to lead. Dave?
Kurt Busch had given up the third place running in the running order, Alan. That wounded race car in the front has been gripping the track in the back. He needs just a slight adjustment. They will take on four tires, fill it full of Sunoco fuel, and get Kurt back out. Doc?
Joey Logano said the car is still very, very tight. Needs to turn better coming up off the corner. Joey very, very insistent. Air pressure change, four tires, and tops it off with fuel. Final pit stop. He's away.
Well, your race leader, Paul Menard, is in his pit box. Guys, they called for four tires. No changes on this 33 car. He is very happy. As I said at the beginning of the race, same car that they raced at Charlotte and at Texas. It was dominant there, and it is doing a great job here today, right?
Elliott Sadler and Luke Lambert very concerned about their fuel window. Wanted to make sure this was the right lap to come down, calculating everything to the very last inch, so to speak, as they make their adjustments and are way up the two car.
Daytona winner James Buescher took right side tires only the last time. They will go four this time. Top it off with fuel. Remember, he's the one with the smaller ears for speed on the straightaway. He's away.
And Cole Witt, pretty tight in traffic. Expecting them now to make an air pressure adjustment and a track bar adjustment. Also expecting a four-tire change on the 88 car as they come down pit road. Work begins on the right side of that machine now as they go to work for Cole Witt. Meanwhile, also on pit road is a 43 car. Talk about them momentarily as the 88 car now completes their stop. It is a four-tire stop and a full load of fuel for Cole Witt. They're away in 15.1 seconds. Meanwhile, Michael Annett completing his service now, left side. Work being completed there. Four tires on the 43 car.
Danica Patrick had the race lead on the exchange of pit stops. See the neon green 7 car hitting the pit lane now. Shannon?
Enter Crew Chief Tony Eury Jr. made the call, said do not lock the tires up. It's going to be a 2-tire change for the 7 car of Danica Patrick. She said there was a small vibration, but they're going to opt to go for 2 tires only as she is sitting in that 7 car waiting on fuel, guys. Danica Patrick rebounding from that first lap spin, doing a great job.
Still got to get it full of fuel. Still got 34 laps to go.
Got to make sure they get it all in because they could have green, white checker. They got to kind of plan for that. It's going to be all they can do probably to make this window.
I'll tell you what made me nervous. She said that she might have a little bit of vibration and only do 2 right side tires. Might have been a left side tire having a problem causing that vibration, but they didn't check it, so they don't know.
Sam Hornish Jr. leading, not yet having pitted under this cycle. Justin Allgaier, Brad Sweet, Joe Nemechek, Mike Wallace, Jamie Dick have not pitted yet to finish out this cycle. When they do, the lead at the front of the pack will have changed because Elliott Sadler got out ahead of Paul Menard on that exchange of pit stops.
You talk about Brad Keselowski hitting the pit area, one of the first guys to hit pit road. Now his teammate, same car, same engine, same everything. Allen's still on the racetrack, still going. So it kind of throws out that Keselowski just doesn't get good gas mileage, I would think. His cars are awful equal.
See Mike Wallace there in the black and gold 01 with the hand wave out the window, telling those overtaking him he's headed to pit road on this lap. And also in that exchange, it looks like Logano and Kurt Busch. There's something going on with Menard there in that 33 because he's going to lose 2 spots right there.
Elliott Sadler, when this thing cycles out, is not going to have to worry about getting in position for Menard. Yeah, he had a great pit stop, and he got out there quick.
Remember, Menard had about 3.5, 3.6 seconds over these 2 cars that just passed him before that pit stop exchange.
So he had a bad stop that really got him back there.
Well, he's still not running as like he was.
Yeah, something going on there with that 33 that we'll have to follow up on. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. on pit lane, Mike.
Done on the 6 car. Just a struggle throughout the course of the afternoon. Right side service being done there. 4-tire change expected on the 6. No matter how good this stop is, it's been a horrible day for the potential championship contender and a difficult day trying to recover from it, Dave.
Before the round of pit stop started, Sam Hornish was running in 9th. He gives up the lead now. The time that he lost on the older tires, they'll try to make up by only taking the right side tires and getting just enough fuel in to take him till the end. We'll see how it cycles out.
Having trouble getting the fuel in the car there, obviously. When you see the fueler shrugging his hands like, I'm sure the crew chief's hollering on the radio.
You got a 14.5-second pit stop there. Under those conditions, he should have went for 4 tires.
Well, he could have.
He's got it done.
But they didn't realize they were going to have problems getting full. This new fueling system has been a problem for some teams, and it's not consistent. It can fuel good one stop, another stop it's slow. It can get airlocks in it. It's a closed loop system, so if it gets an air bubble in it, it can affect how the car fuels, and that's been a problem for a lot of teams.
Evidently, that's what happened there because there's a really slow fuel job on that car.
There's your race leader, Justin Allgaier now. His crew chief, Jimmy Elledge, been known to take a chance on strategy, so we'll see what happens when this 31 finally hits the pit lane.
Yeah, I don't know what he's got up his sleeve right now, but we'll find out. He last pitted, though, on lap 55. And a lot of the other cars had pitted earlier than that, so he's got a little bit bigger window here.
All right, while we wait for Allgaier to pit and complete the cycle of stops, what's going on with Paul Menard? Shannon?
Well, guys, they had a slow pit stop, and this is the reason. Aaron Smith, the right rear tire changer, the exhaust backfired in his face. You could see his goatee is completely singed, but they're telling me that that's the reason they had a slow pit stop is because he wasn't able to look at what he was doing. He actually had to turn his face. So he's fine, but a little bit of a goatee problem here.
Yeah,
Alan?
that tells you they may have been just on the edge of being out of fuel, and that thing backfired while Paul was trying to keep it running, making that stop.
All right, here comes Allgaier to pit road. Stop's going to be with what will be 27 laps to go. What do they have up their sleeves, Dave?
Well, the car's been pretty good today. The center and off of the corner, just a little bit hard for him to steer. So when they take off the right rear tire, the tire changer is going to pop in a spring rubber to stiffen up that right rear of the car, help that car turn just a little bit better. Shannon?
And Brad Sweet, guys, he is in his pit box. What a day it's been for this 38 car. 2 spins, and right now they are just putting 4 tires on the 38 car to get him back out on the racetrack. A prodigy of Casey Kane in that 38 car, guys. He won a World of Outlaw race last weekend.
He got a little too close to the wall making that 4-tire stop. You saw the Jackman having problems.
So the lead changes on the cycle of pit stops, and Elliott Sadler is now out in front, winning the Alliance Truck Parts 250 at Michigan with 27 laps to go.
ESPN's coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series on ABC. Brought to you by Peak Performance Electronics and Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram.
Fast changing picture here at Michigan International Speedway. Caution out for the 5th time in the race. Danica Patrick has just spun off of turn number 2 just after the race lead changed hands off of turn number 2 in traffic. First, the cause of the caution.
And she gets a little help from Austin Dillon. Looks like she's going to be okay if she's got a little room to work. Looks like she had just enough room not to hit the wall.
You see Austin just getting real close and just right there. I'm not for sure he bumped her. It looks like he got so close and she just got loose.
We're just going to slide here and straighten out. We'll be okay here. All right, straighten out.
See, he done touch it.
I don't think they made contact, but he still helped her around.
And he got close to her, and he didn't do anything wrong.
No.
That's how loose these cars are, Andy, on this track.
And right here, I thought maybe she didn't have enough room to catch this thing, but just enough asphalt down there.
Great safety area. That used to be grass years ago.
It's like, I don't want to hit that thing. I'm turning right.
Okay, let's go this way.
So Patrick was running in 8th position at the time. Now the lead changed hands up front. Just before that, Joey Logano is now out in front of Elliott Sadler. Very few lead lap takers here for pit stops. Remember, we just finished a cycle under the green flag. Shannon?
Yeah, Danica Patrick came over the radio after that spin. She said, guys, I am so loose. Tony Eury Jr., her crew chief, said, well, you kind of got a little bit of help from Austin Dillon. They are going to put a spring rubber in that left rear. Dave?
Both Sam Hornish and Brad Keselowski were far enough down in the queue, Hornish running 9th, Keselowski running 13th, that they're going to come in and put on 4 tires. They've got them behind the wall. They may as well use them. And both want a little bit of an adjustment as well on their race cars.
Caution out, 21 laps to go. Show you how Joey Logano got the lead and get ready for the restart after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Ahead tonight on ESPN2, Ford NHRA Thunder Valley Nationals qualifying. The finals you will see tomorrow at 5 Eastern on ESPN. NASCAR Nationwide Series on the road course at Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Been a wild race the last couple of years.
It'll be fun.
3 Eastern next Saturday on ESPN. Hope you'll be with us for that.
A lot of racing on ESPN here lately. Good couch time, you know?
That's what we do.
I like it.
Going to be 18 laps to go for the restart. Joey Logano got the race lead just before the yellow flag when Elliott Sadler, who picked up the lead on the exchange of green flag pit stops a minute before, kind of got pinched in some traffic.
See, Elliott had a pretty good lead. Made the move on Joe Nemechek and had to get out of the throttle to not make contact. And here comes Logano.
Now, if I remember correctly, the same thing happened to Logano at Dover when Ryan Truex was leading. Had to jump out of the throttle. Here comes Joey past him, too. So this is the second time he's took advantage of that type of situation.
Wrapping up the 5th caution of the race, Austin Dillon, Danica Patrick involved in turn number 2. Dillon running 8th. Patrick is going to restart 15th. This on the 3 radio.
I mean, I don't know how low she wants me to go. I kept going lower and lower and lower.
That's exactly what happened. She kept coming down, and Austin didn't touch him at all. She just got loose.
I agree. Doing all he could do. We're looking at this restart. Got the front row. It's Joey Logano, Elliott Sadler. You wonder now, is Elliott going to race Logano any different after the Darlington incident? Remember the late race restart? We're going to have 18 laps to go.
I would.
Well, Logano has chosen the outside lane. He's got Paul Menard behind him. Kurt Busch in that black 54 car. Somebody well worth keeping an eye on.
He's in a hurry.
As we go green. 18 laps to go.
There he goes.
Big bottleneck in traffic. Do they all come out the other side of turn 2?
Man, what a poor restart for Elliott Sadler. There's nobody helping him. And he falls, what is it, 6 cars he's lost so far. And still losing. Whoa, he's going down, get loose there. Now he's sliding up in front of Joanna Long.
Oh, man, look at that 22 Keselowski get loose. Driving it off the corner. Time to go, though.
Logano leads. Menard is second. Third is James Buescher. Kurt Busch is fourth, and this is a big old knot back for about 10th.
You see Danica back there right on the flat of the racetrack where there's not as much bank. That's where she got loose last time. And this race has just been flying by. 17 laps to go. It is go time. They got to get up on the wheel right now, or else those leaders are just going to drive away.
44, Mike Bliss. 40, Eric Darnell. All lead lap cars. All fighting for spots.
Well, you see James Buescher back there in the 3rd position. He won our opening race this year at Daytona. Big win for that young man. Got a break at the very end, but he was in a hunt all day long.
Well, he drives in the truck series a lot. I mean, that's where he runs mostly, and that's the way they race. They race these kind of tracks with these trucks almost wide open. So he's used to this style of racing that we're seeing in the Nationwide Series, which is not the norm.
And those were the comments he made also after qualifying when he told us that, Andy. You're exactly right. I mean, he's used to momentum, like driving, I call it, keeping it wound up.
Got a challenge here. Kurt Busch to his inside. Busch damaged the nose of that car in a lap 1 accident when cars spun in front of him. Went all the way back to 36th place. He's up in the top 5 and racing for 3rd spot. And getting it.
He got it that time.
I tell you, we talked earlier in our show about questioning the horsepower of these different teams. Joe Gibbs Racing, they're building those Toyota engines in that car. Now they're getting their Cup engines from a different team, the TRD team out in California. But they're building all these engines in-house for these cars, and they always have been. I tell you, they're making some good horsepower compared to the rest of the teams out there, compared to the Chevys, compared to the Dodges, and the Fords. And I really thought the Toyotas were down. I don't think that any longer.
For the race lead, Paul Menard is stalking Joey Logano. Logano, the hottest driver of the season in the Nationwide Series in that 18, a 4-time winner, including the last race at Dover. Paul Menard runs so well. He ran so well in the Texas race back in April. Had a shot at winning. It slipped away. He's been out in front more than any other driver all afternoon. Lost some ground on a pit stop. On his last pit stop by a real freakish happening on pit road when the car backfired and literally singed the beard of the right rear tire changer who had to back off his stop before coming back at it. It was a green flag stop. It kicked Menard from the lead back to 4th at the time. The caution, a break for him, allowed him to close up on the leaders. He's gained some ground on the restart.
Well, he's not losing any ground at all with Logano. I don't know if he's just...
Oh, trouble. Patrick and Sweet, turn 2. Caution's out.
Same 2 that wrecked at the beginning of the race.
Danica's done a lot of damage this time, Andy. That right front splitter is tore up big time. It looks like that right front tire is towed out. She's done herself in this time.
Yeah, didn't get away with it on this one.
This is her 3rd time. What do they call it? 3rd time's a charm?
Yeah.
This one got her.
They were running 14th and 15th, Patrick and Sweet, respectively. Racing for 14th.
down there on the bottom.
You know, you and I talked about this. That lower car just flat gets loose. This is something that happens all the time, but this tire is so hard to withstand this new track. She just lost it getting in there.
That's her fault.
Yeah.
Brad Sweet didn't do anything wrong, except getting caught up in it.
And you know what? There's no way to understand what that feels like unless you experience it.
Yeah, and her deal is she's getting loose, needs some room to catch it, and if he's not there, she can chase it up the hill, but he's there.
Carrying so much speed at this racetrack. This is one of the tracks when I drove. I'd get down there side by side, going into turn one, and I knew if I had if I didn't have enough room, I knew I was going to have this problem. This was one of the tracks where I gave myself a little extra room when I tried to make a pass on entry at turn one, just because of this problem right here. The veteran drivers know what happens. She'll know now. But she's learning.
Involved in a spin while running in 5th position at lap 1. Went all the way back to 40th. Came back up into contention for a top 10 finish. Had another spin just a little while ago. Lap 103. While racing for 8th position. And now this, racing for 14th.
ESPN's coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series on ABC. Brought to you by Walmart. Save money. Live better.
Still in a caution here at Michigan. Don't forget the Ford NHRA Thunder Valley Nationals. Qualifying ESPN2 right now. Finals tomorrow on ESPN at 5 Eastern. NASCAR Nationwide Series. Next race next Saturday. The Road America Road Course, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, 3 Eastern time on ESPN. Wrapping up the 6th caution of the race. Mike Bliss, free pass on the caution. Getting ready for a restart. That'll come with less than 10 laps to go, Doc.
Checking in with Adam Stevens, calling the shots for Joey Logano. Adam, you got a good race car. You told Joey the 33 is good, the 54 may be better. Who worries you the most?
They all worry me. These restarts are a crapshoot. You know, we're wide open on these restarts, and these cars, just whoever gets the better run is going to go to the front. And, boy, you have to hit your marks and do it right.
Thank you, man. Let's check in with Shannon.
Ernie Cope calling the shots for Paul Menard, who's in 2nd. All right, you got one restart. Do you think he can take Logano on this restart?
I hope so. The restart is going to be important. If we can beat him down at turn 1, I think we get out in front and win it, but it's all going to matter how the restart goes.
Thanks, Ernie.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, that is the key, how the restart goes. And by the way, this race has a little bit of a history trend going recently. I know you said throw out the record books at the start of the telecast, Rusty, but I'll just point this out for curiosity's sake. The guy leading with 10 laps to go in each of the last 3 years in this race didn't win. He finished 2nd.
That doesn't look too good for Logano then, does it?
Sure doesn't.
I'm just saying.
You know what I think Paul Menard needs? I think he needs John Force on the radio right now going, son, this is how you do a start. Lay back, rev that motor up, let's get out of Dodge if we can get past Logano, because Logano has been fantastic on every restart today. He flat put it on Elliott Sadler a little while ago.
John, if you're not familiar, the legendary NHRA drag racer, it's all about putting the hammer down in a hurry.
Oh, that's right. When that green light comes on, John Force is gone.
All right, so 18 cars on the lead lap. Danica Patrick has repaired and continued. It's Joey Logano choosing in that bright yellow 18, the outside lane on the restart, with Paul Menard to his inside. Row 2, Kurt Busch, James Buescher. Solid run today for Brian Scott and Austin Dillon, creeping a little closer to the front in these late laps.
I expect Kurt Busch to really be on his game right now behind Paul Menard. Kurt's been pretty anxious throughout the day. He's done a great job. He's got that car up in 3rd position.
8 laps to go. Fuel mileage not a question. Will we see another yellow flag? Who gets to the checkered flag first? Here we go.
It's almost a replay of the last restart when Elliott Sadler got sandwiched. And I think it was Kurt Busch that did that, made it 3 wide, and you can see how it just kills momentum for Paul Menard. He gets passed by 4 or 5 cars.
He just really fell backwards right there. Okay, what is it? What causes this? Is it the gear ratio?
Close trouble in the wall. Josh Richards, 39. Jamie Dick, 23. Might have ripped open the oil tank on the side of that 39 car.
Yeah, you see some flames coming out. I'm not sure what it's not coming from the exhaust.
I don't see oil on the racetrack, though, so I'm not sure what it is there.
I just wonder which car's on fire. Is it under the hood of the 23?
Yeah, Richards got to get out of that car. He needs to get out the right side window somehow because he's got the flames on the left side right by him.
Safety crews quickly there. You see Josh is moving in the cockpit, but he's relaxed and letting the crews do their thing. I say relaxed. He's not panicked. Certainly.
I started to say you're a lot more relaxed than I would be inside that car.
Understand.
With the flames going like that. But no, they did get there fast.
I wonder if it somehow caught that foam on fire.
I'm not sure there's not a... I think it might be a fire under the hood of the 23, and it just looked like it was coming from the left rear of the 39.
Yeah, maybe. Josh obviously out of the car and just fine.
Now you see some liquid running down the racetrack.
You know, Andy, going back to that restart a little bit, I was really surprised how Menard just really got it put on him. And you saw the same thing with Elliott Sadler. It makes you wonder, what is it? Is it the transmissions? Or they're doing something wrong?
They're getting hung in the middle. It looked like Kurt Busch was making it 3 wide, and whoever got caught in the middle was just going straight back.
Andy, I like your theory that the fire was actually under the hood of the 23 car. Whoa, look out.
Uh-oh, there goes the car. Look out.
Is there somebody in that car?
I don't think so.
No.
The car just took off by itself.
Wasn't put in gear.
Okay.
And when they unhooked it, moved it around.
No harm.
Yeah.
Ambulance got away. She's backing up by itself.
Yeah, did a nice job there doing a 3-point turn to get turned around. And nobody behind the wheel.
Okay, car safely to a stop. Haven't seen that one in a while. 39-23 right side of the screen, both on the lead lap.
Just gets
Jamie
hammered.
Dick just hammered the back of the 39. Looks like maybe Josh got out of the throttle a little bit, getting in the corner.
You'd have to think that's what happened because the closure rate was really big time between those two. Generally, when you catch somebody that quick, Andy, like Jamie Dick did to the 39 car, that's what it was. He just got loose, had to get out of the throttle, and actually caused that problem. Josh Richards just probably wasn't handling it well. And that fire, you were right, buddy, under the hood.
Probably a broken oil cooler or a fuel line.
And then,
no driver. That one guy, he made an attempt.
He aborted at the right time.
One man's not going to hold a 3,500-pound race car up on an 18-degree bank turn.
There you go. Hey. Where's my car going?
Heads up.
That was a little comical, you got to admit.
Obviously, the field has been stopped under the red flag. You haven't seen any cars coming through this accident scene. They were stopped on the back straightaway, and there they sit.
And I got a feeling you're going to see an incredible restart, Alan, when we come back to this thing. These guys are jacked up. They want to get it done.
Red flag out. 7 laps to go. Trouble in turn 3. Field stopped under the red flag here at Michigan International Speedway with 7 laps to go after a 2-car crash in turn 3. Both drivers okay. And how this one will all turn out, still a mystery among all the other unknowns that we've seen throughout the day as we get ready for the settling laps. Restarts have been key to exchanging the lead. And as they parked under the red flag, we captured this on the onboard cameras a few minutes ago. See James Busher and Austin Dillon parked side by side. That's Austin on the left, trying to get James's attention.
He's like, James, come on, let's hook up. When this thing goes green, let's hook up. Let's hook up, just like that's a signal. You and I, let's get out of here.
It'd be in James Buscher's best interest to play along here, too, because he's going to start on the front row.
The Buscher just got the signal there, Andy. Thumbs up. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
That's all assuming Joey Logano chooses the outside lane for the restart.
It's been working for him, though.
Brad Keselowski, our ESPN in-race reporter for the day, is one of several drivers who've had their struggles and yet made rallies. There's old Brad sitting in 5th position in that 22 car.
Hey, Brad Keselowski, Rusty up in the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir. What's going on, Rusty?
Buddy, you're driving a great race out. You're up in 5th right now. What's your car running like? And tell us a little bit about this new pavement on the track out there. What's it feeling like, buddy?
Well, I appreciate the compliment, but I don't think I ran the best of race. We got caught up in some stuff early on there and done some damage to the Discount Tire Dodge. Everyone on the team has done the best they can to patch her up and get us back towards the front, but it's real hard fighting for track position. I was hoping that the racetrack would widen out a little bit. So far, that hasn't happened. So, you know, we're all kind of fighting that, trying to use the draft when we can and get good runs on each other. But when you get to the corner, it seems like if you don't single file out, you got kind of a mess on your hands. So we're all fighting through that and doing the best we can. So I appreciate everybody staying patient. But the restarts here are what's going to be critical. You know, if you can make a move on a restart, that's going to set you up for the end.
Brad, have you worked with anybody pretty good today that you can count on getting behind you, giving a good push to get up through that pack on this restart?
No, I'd much rather do the pushing. So I'm going to push somebody up there and hope I can get by him at the end.
Brad, what do you think of the track? How's it been for you today?
Well, it's got grip, and the speeds have fallen off a little bit, but not a lot, which is, you know, good for the Cup race tomorrow. But, you know, we haven't been able to get it to widen out, so I'm a little frustrated with that. So we'll see how that works out. The more cars that run out, the more races we run here, the better that'll get, but it just hasn't happened yet.
Okay, buddy, you've been great today. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you, Rusty, and thanks for having our race on ABC. I know our fans love having it on your channel, so we appreciate that.
All right, buddy, you got it.
Brad Keselowski restarted 16th at lap 107. Here we are at lap 118, and he's in 5th place. And we'll see who he can push toward the front here on this last restart. Reminder about ESPN's coverage of the ALNL Showdown in Major League Baseball. Sunday night at 8, the Boston Red Sox in Chicago to take on the Cubs at Wrigley. Then Monday at 7, the Yankees hosting Jason Hayward and the Braves in an interleague matchup. It's the ALNL Showdown presented by State Farm. Both games available on ESPN, ESPN3, and live on WatchESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app.
Was it the Cubs that took it to the Red Sox yesterday?
Yes, sir, it was. Get ready to fire him back up and try and finish this one off here. Andy Petrie just knows I'm a Red Sox fan. He's just trying to add in injury to insult, I think. Let's go talk some more racing here, Doc.
All right, we'll get you out of that one, Alan.
Thank you.
Hey, Trent Owens is calling the shots for James Buscher, who's starting second. And Trent, on the last two restarts, a second-place car, Elliott Sadler and Paul Menard had their momentum taken away by the third-place car coming in and making it 3-1. How do you keep your guy from having that happen to him?
Well, we're not sure what lane the 18 is going to choose, but if he chooses top, we hope the 3 car can push us before he tries taking us 3 wide. So you're kind of a sitting duck because the leader does have to start the race, so you got that little bit of hesitation. But like I said, hopefully we can protect our inside if we're on the inside, and the guy behind us can push us through.
All right, good luck to you. We'll see if James Buscher can hang on. Alan?
Yeah, the one thing that he's got going for him is that Kurt Busch is 7th, and he's the guy that's been making it 3 wide on the last 2 restarts.
And a couple of cars have some trouble getting away from where they were parked under the red flag in the back straightaway. Michael Annett got a little push from Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the 2 Fords in the field. Little mutual aid there.
That's one thing NASCAR will do. They'll make sure every car gets started. If they need help from a wrecker, they'll keep the field slow so they can get them all started.
The pit road is open.
Green flag's waving, and here comes Allgaier. Looks like he's going to take advantage.
Interesting. That is from 14th place. Dave?
With Mike Beam right now while Justin Allgaier pits. Mike, Kurt was much further up in the queue earlier, had a chance to make that dive bomb start on the restarts. What can he do now in 7th?
Well, I think now you're just going to see him really, he'll really get after it. He took a shot there, but, our car with the damage on the front, it's kind of hard to take off for some reason, you know, but we got it fixed up the best we could. So I think, you know, we started 15th once we, on one of those cautions, you know, he got up to 9th. So, you know, he'll do everything he can. You know, we got Kurt Busch, and so I know you don't have to worry about him being determined and bringing his A game. So it'll be good fun.
The way the day started, that's a good pickup, all right.
Yes, sir. Kurt Busch sitting there now.
You know,
a lot more work to do to get to the front.
We talked about that rear spoiler has those ears on the side, and that you can run them or you can take them off or change them in height. You have to do them both. Looks like Allgaier's going to make a little move here with just a few laps to go, taking both of those ears off of the spoiler for less drag and hang on to it for just a few laps.
He wants that extra speed, doesn't he? He wants to try to get through there as fast as he can. 6 laps to go right now. That'll be 5 when you take the green, huh?
We were talking about Jimmy Elledge earlier, what he had up in his sleeve.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Maybe that's what it was.
He gave up 14th spot for that pit stop, and there are only 18 cars on the lead lap.
That's not a bad gamble.
No. Add Jeff Green to that total. 14 car. Got the free pass. That is him going around the pace car. Jeff will come around and join the lead lap. Former series champ subbing for Eric McClure, who we hope to see back at the racetrack and back behind the wheel of that 14 very, very soon.
You know, Alan, what these things have done, these restarts, Logano has really nailed them on every single restart. He's been game on. After you had these multiple restarts like this, multiple caution flags, it lets these other guys think about, okay, what am I doing wrong? I messed that last one up. I can't mess this one up. It gives them a second chance not to mess up.
Okay, you see what's happened. What do you do to defend against that?
They're letting Logano get gone too quick. They're letting him get the jump, and I'd be looking right at his car all the time, Andy. As soon as I see that thing move, I'm in the throttle. Restarts were pretty good for me. You know, I was always game on. And what I did, I looked out the window, and as soon as I saw that car move, I didn't have anybody tell me across the headset, okay, go. I saw it move, I went. I didn't listen to the spotter. Nobody like that. That's what I'd be doing.
Follow up before the restart, Dave?
With Jimmy Elledge, crew chief on the 31, they actually removed the ears off of the spoiler. Jimmy, what should the driver expect on the restart?
I don't know, but he'll probably be the first to know. No, I don't know. We just haven't had any speed today, you know, and we ran without him yesterday and a little bit of the practices, and it was much hotter, and you know, we'd lost a lot of grip, so we figured green, white checker, not a whole lot of laps. We didn't really have anything to lose, so we just figured we'd give it a try to see if we can make something happen.
Jimmy mentioned the key point. They did practice about 1 practice and a half without those ears on the spoiler, guys.
So Allgaier gave up 14th, Dave. He's back in 17th for the restart. 4 laps to go. Want to add one other thing to your discussion about Joey Logano and the restarts. Confidence. Talked about it at the beginning of our show. 4 wins this season, plus the Sprint Cup Series win last Sunday at Pocono. Confidence. He knows he can get it done. Joey said earlier this weekend, you got to think to succeed as a race driver a little bit that you're the baddest guy on the racetrack. And right now, I think I'm the baddest guy on the racetrack.
Confidence is important.
He has been. He has been for quite a few races this year.
Paraphrasing Logano's statements earlier this weekend here at the track. Pace cars off, 4 laps to go. Will Austin Dillon be able to push James Buescher by Joey Logano, or can Logano get away?
Logano put it on him again.
See Cole Witt making it 3 wide up the middle. I don't know if it'll work or not.
And remember, Cole's got the less downforce with that rear spoiler. Those ears are missing. But it doesn't look like it's helping his car whatsoever. They need to find out what Logano's doing on the restarts, because he's done it every time.
1 car in trouble off turn 4, smoking. Brad Sweet's car going up in smoke. We stay on the green so far.
Flagman was looking under the car when he went by to see if there was any fluid. I don't see any on the apron where he went by.
See what Joe Logano, guys, is just checking out, but he can't lose James Buescher. Buescher's right on his tail. Well, we saw Elliott Sadler do the same thing with Logano earlier, just couldn't keep up with him. So, and Paul Menard do the same thing also.
Coming to 2 laps to go. Separated from 3rd place, Kurt Busch, by enough of a gap. Unless they get side by side, they should settle it between them.
Hey, Buescher's right there. virtually wide open through that corner. Oh, they cracked the throttle. I didn't hear him crack it at all.
I didn't hear him either. They're wide open. They don't have a decision at the moment. If the car's going to stick, they got to be wide open.
Yeah, that was the fastest lap of the race, last lap.
That haze of smoke from the Brad Sweet car, who was down on the safety apron and has come back around. Here they come to the white flag. 1 lap to go in this race. Who comes back these final 2 miles to win it? Joey Logano with his 5th of the season, or James Buescher with his 2nd.
And
Buescher looking to the inside.
You had to crack the throttle, though.
The car got loose on him.
That might be enough.
That was Buescher's shot right there to drive it in side by side. But you saw what happened to Danica Patrick. When she done that, she lost it. Buescher was smart. He didn't go for it.
Confidence, momentum, call it what you want. But Joey Logano is on a roll. His 5th win of the season in the NASCAR Nationwide Series.
Again.
Joey Logano wins it at Michigan.
Good job, guys. Good job. Yeah, you did, Joe. I'm proud of you, buddy. You're the man. Golly, we keep winning races. This is fun. Thank you.
Alan, is this the first time a Toyota's won a nationwide race in front of the Big Three?
It is their first nationwide win at this track. They have Sprint Cup wins here. In fact, Joe Gibbs Racing swept both the Sprint Cup Series events at this track a year ago. But in a race that's been dominated by Chevrolet with a healthy dose of Ford thrown in and even a couple of Dodge wins, today it's Toyota going to victory lane, and Joey Logano continues to be the man in this series. When he's in the field, he's been up front, and this is his 5th win of the season.
Well, he had to fight off James Buescher, though. He made a real run at him into turn 1 on that last lap.
Okay, you and I had a lot of discussions today, Andy, about horsepower here. What do you think of that Toyota power today?
Looks like it was good enough.
Sure does, doesn't it?
He's getting a lot of practice at this celebrating thing, Dave.
He sure is, and Adam Stephen taking a look from up here on the pit box still. 20 races here, all Chevys, Fords, and Dodges in victory lane. Now 1 Toyota. How does it feel?
It feels great. I mean, I tell you, I cannot believe what a weekend this was with the new package and the new pavement. It was incredible to put a game plan together and work your guts out, and everybody on this team really put their heads together, and we had a great Dollar General Toyota today. But at the end, you can still throw a blanket over the top 4 or 5, and it was our strength on the previous run that made the difference.
They tuned it well. The 21st nationwide race at Michigan belongs to the team of Joey Logano, Adam Stevens, and the rest. There's a bunch of guys who made this happen, Alan.
And Dave talking about being on a roll in his last 5 starts in this nationwide series. Joey Logano with his 4th win. 4 for 5. That's pretty good average,
That
I
is
think.
incredible. Puts a little extra step in you, no doubt about that.
Nationwide Series moving on to what has been a very action-packed race in its first few years of existence. Road America, the 4-mile road course at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Next Saturday, 3 Eastern on ESPN. Then the Fast Mile and a Half in Kentucky, the Super Speedway at Daytona, the Magic Mile in New Hampshire. A lot of great races coming up for the Nationwide Series. Join us at the track, NASCAR.com/tickets for the phone number at the bottom of the screen. Well, James Buescher took a shot at it, Shannon, had to settle for 2nd.
He sure did. Absolutely one of the moves of the race. Walk me through that move. Is there any possible way you think you might have been able to make it stick?
No, there's a lot of moves at the end of the race that got us up there in position to go after the win. And, I got to thank everybody on this Turner Motorsports Chevy, first of all, Steven Sandra Turner for giving us great race cars, and Amway for coming on board this weekend. I think it was a pretty good showing for their first time in the sport, and just got to thank them for doing that. And our car was fast. The number 30 was really, really good. Just didn't have all the speed we needed getting to the center of the corner. It was just a little unstable there. So the late race restarts definitely helped. The longer we ran, the more some guys were able to get around us, and the restarts were good. We couldn't take off initially, and then by the time we got to turn 1, we were wound up enough to make some moves. And I thought I was going to get Joey on that last lap. I peeked to the inside, and when I got down on the flatter part of the banking, it just got loose. So congratulations to those guys. He had a fast car, and you know, we had a top 5 car all day, and definitely did really well with it. So just a good day for everybody.
Second place finish for James Busher. Mike?
Catching up with the 4th place finisher now, that's Cole Witt. Pretty strong day out there. How would you assess it?
Yeah, you know, I mean, it just feels good to get a good run finally, you know, especially after rebounding. I mean, a little bit for, you know, getting a little bit buried back in the pack, and to come back is pretty cool. It shows how strong we really are, you know, and testament to the team, you know. It's just pretty cool. Get, you know, Clean Coal on board. It's been a lot of fun getting them involved. The fans have been great, helping us support them, and showing a lot of good hospitality. But, you know, this nationwide this nationwide series is pretty cool. How much excited I was having fun kind of watching James and them back there, and then Austin gave me a good run for my money. So it was a lot of fun. It's just cool to have Nationwide Insurance make this happen for us. So thanks to everybody that makes it happen, and Junior Motorsports for giving me a chance.
Congratulations on a good run.
Thank you.
Alan, when his crew chief Bruce Cook came on board, his job was to get this kid's confidence back. It appears to be there.
Equaling his best career Nationwide Series finish, Cole Witt with 4th today. The man in victory lane, who's been a familiar scene so far this season, Joey Logano celebrating a win.
Well, the hottest driver in NASCAR just got hotter after winning a Cup race, last week's Sprint Cup race at Pocono. Now his 5th win of the year in the Nationwide Series. Hey, Joey Logano, congratulations. Take us through your concerns or those final 2 restarts.
Well, just make sure you go through the gears, and you know, these cars are punching up such a big hole in the air. It's hard to get away from anyone. And I knew that 30 was waiting on it. I knew the game he was playing. He was waiting to get in to try to make that pass, and he had a good run down into 1. I was better in 3 and 4. He can get me down the straightaway and try to dive by me in the 1, and I saw him do it. And I started to block, and I was like, no, I just think if I get the momentum and I pin him down there, I get a big enough lead off it, too. And it worked out perfectly. And, man, Adam Stevens and all the boys, again, gave me a great Dollar General car. Mary's been on a roll lately, and we just got to keep it going, man. This is a lot of fun. Obviously, I think Toyota, I think this is their first nationwide win here at Michigan, so that's really cool. And, you know, obviously Dollar General, Rick and all the guys, and GameStop, Sport Clips, you know, Home Depot, all those guys are helping us out. So, man, excited about the win, and, man, it's a lot of fun lately.
What has been the difference in you? I mean, you've been good in years past, but this year you're great. Winning in the Cup Series, now 5 in the Nationwide. What's turned it around for Joey Logano?
Man, it's a combination of a lot of things. You know, as a driver, I'm very confident right now in my abilities. I feel like I got what it takes to win all these races, and it's been working for me. And obviously, I've got a great team. I got a great crew chief on the Cup side with Jason and Adam over here. Have been doing 2 awesome jobs and working together really well, and making both the programs, you know, rise up to where it needs to be. And we're just capitalizing on every opportunity we got right now.
Hey, good luck tomorrow, and congratulations today.
All right, thanks.
Joey Logano picking up his 5th win of the year, first ever at Michigan, and the first for Toyota, and Joe Gibbs Racing in a Toyota here at Michigan International Speedway. Alan?
Doc, thanks. A rugged day for some wild racing on the restarts, and the dominant driver in the series celebrating again. Next Saturday, 3 Eastern, ESPN, Road America. And next, ABC World News with David Mueller, except on the West Coast. Joey Logano wins it. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. So long from Michigan.